North American stock futures pointing to another lower open coming up this morning as we come off back-to-back sessions, in fact, with U.S. equities in negative territory. If you remember, yesterday was just the NASDAQ that ended the day slightly higher, up 0.1% for its fourth straight record high close. Focus shifting back towards global economic growth surrounding the Delta variant in COVID cases, and an increase right across the board as far as cases are concerned. As I mentioned, yesterday we saw the S&P and Dow both lower, NASDAQ slightly higher to end the day. Analysts have warned of late of possible volatility returning in September. Overall, the S&P 500 still up 20+% on the year, and is yet to log a 5% pullback through that entire stretch. So a huge year for the overall market continuing. One potential catalyst could be some tapering from the Fed. We'll get the Beige Book coming up this afternoon. Survey of economic activity throughout the U.S. that comes out periodically. We're watching shares of Coinbase to the downside this morning. Possible SEC investigation and lawsuit coming Coinbase's way. And NIO back on watch as well. We'll talk about some EV makers, Tesla, moving around here in the pre-market as well. It's Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. TraderTV.live starts now. And there we go. Look at how things stand at this point. As I mentioned, slightly lower right across the board here. 0.13 for the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, all about the same. You can see the TSX futures here in Toronto also in negative territory. A little bit of a bump for crude oil, 1.2% to the upside today. Yeah, crypto's relatively flat, unchanged today, coming off that volatile session we saw yesterday. So we'll keep an eye on all things crypto. Good morning, guys. It is going to be an interesting one here today. As I mentioned, we have a number of interesting movers here in the pre-market, a little bit of a different feel once again this morning. Again, the markets are flat, but lots to discuss as we head into the morning.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of movers in here. I mean, BIG was doing absolutely nothing. Now it's starting to go. You got PayPal's going to be in play today. I like the break, but I didn't take it because the spread's there and the volume's not in that one. But I'll tell you, that could be a big mover. Of course, you know, you had that flash crash, we'll call it. I guess that's the best way to go about mentioning it here when it comes to crypto. I guess the selling of the news and some acceleration. But Coinbase has their own issues with the SEC sort of clamping down on them. Over their lending product. They're down about 4%, but still, hey, above that 250 mark. There's going to be a lot of levels to work through. It's a holiday shortened week, so it is hump day here, even though it's only the second trading day of the week. And so far, it looks like we're going to have quite a few movers, including maybe not so much Clover, but BBIG is certainly on the move. Vinco Ventures, I should say, that one on the move here as it just broke out through like 11. I was staring at that thing. I'm like, yeah, come on, bounce off 10, and then missed a 10:30 break. Looks like it's trying to pull back a little bit. I want to buy a dip in this thing, and I want to see if Clover can hold this 1060. There's a great 1025 level on a dip, but it's testing the first one right now. So a lot happening even as we open the show.
Yeah, lots happening. What's up? Just seeing, the sticky note is out. Yeah, PaySafe. Yeah, NEO has the offering out right now. So people asking me about that. I still like NEO. I mean, it's only a 2 billion share offering. Their market cap's about 65 billion or so. So we like NEO today, and I think that we'll play it the same way we did yesterday. Could have easily been the trade of the day. We went with Sava that we're not in right now, but there's NEO down that 3%. The market's just hovering around flat right now. So I think there's going to be some buying opportunities if we do take out this top of 39.50, 39.60 on NEO. We are long Vinco Ventures right now. A couple names being put in the chat. So we'll be looking at everything. Just make sure you follow us, watch us on tradertv.live. And then the sticky note is up on my Twitter.
Yeah, NEO on the list this morning. We have Tesla on the watch list this morning as well. Chinese sales numbers for August out for Tesla today. Actually better than expected. If you remember, August versus July, there was a significant dip. They were expecting as well another dip heading into August, but came out better than expected. So we'll talk about Tesla here in a second. Before we do, let's get over to Miss V's new home because, yeah, Memes and Movers returns today, guys. Good morning, Miss V.
Good morning, guys. I hope you like my new spot. Please enjoy the show. Enjoy your trading day. I wish you all the luck. And don't forget to smash the like button. Let's get it started, Brandon.
Let's indeed get it started, guys. Yeah, Memes and Movers coming back this morning at 11 o'clock. So make sure you stick around for Trader Prad and Miss V coming up at 11 o'clock, guys. Let's kick things off here with a discussion, if we will, on some meme stocks, because we've had new ones obviously popping up here over the past couple of weeks. But I want to go back in time here a little bit and talk about GameStop, because GameStop is set to report aftermarket tonight. So worth a look. I mean, you know, we've seen a little bit of a resurgence last week in the AMCs and the GMEs of the world. They have kind of taken a back seat once again as far as volume and volatility. But GME, guys, earnings coming up aftermarket tonight.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's just about a catalyst for some of these plays, whether it's meme stocks, squeeze stocks, whatever you want to call it. GameStop's the chart's been pretty interesting. I mean, obviously you had some movement off this 160 level, and I say some, meaning we had a big resurgence in some of the meme names a couple of weeks ago, back into the end of August. Things have settled down, but it's settled down right at this 200 level. So, you know, you might say that the fundamentals maybe don't matter too much with this turnaround story, meme story. But at the end of the day, the technicals are going to actually possibly come into play here after these earnings. Because, I mean, I simply look at, like, just below that 200, you get this, like, 198, which was definitely a thing on the way down when this was getting held up. And now that's turning into, that 198 is turning into an area of support going right into earnings. And if you're to catch a break through that level, I mean, there's a little bit of air beneath it. It looks a little bit more clean, I guess, if I go to like the 15-minute chart, so you can sort of, you know, see when we had that crazy meme day. And this is what that 198 is going to be looking like here. So you have this floor. Now, we spiked through it before, like a few times, but you have this floor that takes you all the way into the gap from that squeeze day, which had a breakout about 168 and then a pullback at 170. So the way I kind of see it is, if there's a sell-off in GameStop that breaches that level, you almost have to think it can go to 168 or even at least to that 178 area. So that's kind of like your target area. If you're one of those, you know, sort of looking to catch a falling sword, or maybe you're looking at, like, you know, post and pre-market trading levels that you're going to be interested in here. I look all the way into that gap, and conversely, if you manage to hold it, you can kind of see what happened at the top, like that very high. You know, I got away with shorting it all day. It looks ridiculous, and I managed to be up, and it's kind of ridiculous anyways. But that 220, it got about to 225 before turnaround. It had one breakthrough 225. That's been the failure that got us right back into this 198 level. So you kind of put that one in as the top end of your range as well, if you're looking at things in the other direction. So this is set up almost perfectly to kind of give you hopefully a run into one of those two numbers that I think you can probably play a fade into. As far as guessing, like, I don't know that it matters too much about how they're going to report here today. I just want to look at the price action, trading it afterwards. I think that's usually, for me, the safer way to approach GameStop.
And we'll go to another one here. We'll go with AMC. And, you know, AMC's been pretty strong. We had some bottoms not even too long ago, like the 27th, 28th here, of $39, $40. And now we're up to $48 again, and some really nice momentum yesterday early. We had that whole pop. This is a 10-minute chart. And then you can see, though, we're getting pretty top heavy here around $47, $48. So, you know, looking to see what AMC does right now. 48 is that top. So we do have something there. We can maybe minimize it. Look at a daily chart. There's 48 again coming through. I mean, it's a multi-day break if we can get it at 48.34. So we like that play again, and I like any longs back in here. 42, 43 on AMC. Now we're way away from a lot of those levels. We were just recently at the top here yesterday afternoon. We thought we could break 48. We weren't able to. We had these beautiful longs yesterday, long here, long on that break, and then out at 46.80. So, you know, I think we can sort of look to get long if we dip below, I don't know, you know, maybe low 46s in and around here somewhere to get long on AMC. But AMC and GameStop, both definitely not dead, and actually doing quite well right now, considering a lot of the predictions people had. I mean, a lot of the apes out there, you know, think both of these things can continue to go higher, and they may as well, you know, have that juice in them. It just looks like 48 is a top here for AMC. So if we could take out that 48, we'll go long, and then we'll go long again on this top right here 48, basically 48.50. So let's see if we get to 48, and then we'll take out 48.50. Just quickly here on the imbalance locator, just to see what we're dealing with. Nothing today. Ford, after that higher yesterday from Tesla and Apple, you know, they're going to see, I think it's Fields is his last name. He's going to be coming through here and see what happens with Ford. So Ford back to $13. I mean, it's still way undervalued. So we'll see where it's going from here. But I definitely like Ford there for the longer term accounts.
At Trader TV, Randy in the building today. So we're going to get a little bit of an automotive swing to the discussion this morning. JP Morgan, not necessarily a name you think of when it comes to automotive, but JP Morgan not really doing a heck of a lot here in the pre-market. In fact, really hasn't done much. Excuse the wicks on the daily chart, but it really hasn't done much in general on the daily time frame either. But this headline kind of caught my attention this morning. They're going to take a majority ownership stake in Volkswagen's payment business. 75% ownership in the manufacturer's payment platform, opening the doors for, I mean, this is all obviously subject to regulatory approval, but opening the door for opportunity, I guess, guys. An interesting story and an interesting look here for JP Morgan on the automotive front.
Look, it's interesting for JP expanding. I don't know what's going to do anything to the stock. I mean, you have, at the end of the day, I think the overall market sentiment and yields are going to play the bigger story here for JPM, especially when you just got that, you know, the recent data now that people have been looking at for wages and how that might affect the recovery and how that might affect a tapering in the language coming out of the Fed. So I kind of feel like that's going to be your real catalyst for the major banks. You know, sort of with that being said, like you always want to look at the bigger picture. So when you're thinking long term, yeah, of course, this is good for them expanding. Again, I don't think there's going to be a day trade here. Apologize for the wicks, but I don't think there's going to be any kind of a day trade. If you're looking technically at JPM, it probably has to pull back into the mid 150s before you're looking at like a dip buy situation, and then you still have about $10 or just under $10 before you get a clean break through like a 168 top or anything like that. And really, at the end of the day, the catalyst for both those things are going to be moves in yield, sort of in my opinion. So it's a good headline for sure. I can't really think of anything bad about this, and to my knowledge, I'm pretty sure that this was a move that I think was at least a little bit expected coming out of JP taking 75% there. But I just don't see there's going to be too much of a day trade here today. Now, in terms of payments and banks expanding, I'm kind of mad at myself for not getting. Yesterday, it's like, you know, Tesla, it was a thin and it had a spread. PayPal had too much of a spread, so I didn't take that break, and it's about $1 in the money now. But PayPal making some deal news, JPM making some deal news. There's all kinds of action in the market this morning.
Look, PayPal, all this stuff. I mean, PayPal was the call from 2020 there at the beginning of the year when that was a amazing $105, and now you're seeing that PayPal's going to be breaking 300. So it's only, I mean, whatever, it's tripled up there. I mean, there's been a lot of stocks that have done the same thing. I think PayPal has been a nice one. You're going to take out the highs. We talked about that down here, and then now this is when they started talking about equities. I guess it wasn't here. It was probably, I don't forget where it was, but when they started announcing they're going to put equities up on their shelf. So hopefully they can get that trading going. We called PayPal to all-time highs, and that was just last week. So, you know, last week it was $270, $280. Now you're up to $300 already here for PayPal. So I like that name, and we'll see where it goes from here. I mean, I prefer PayPal. I mean, I'm in JP Morgan. I mean, that's the one U.S. bank that I own. I don't own any other ones. So I think it's the cream of the crop. So we're gonna stay in that. I don't really, the Volkswagen deal is a deal. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. They're going to remain pretty solid. Neil just went over some levels there. New position alert. We do have a spot right now, so we'll see if we can't hit it again here on NIO as we go long 39.61. That's the the spot that was on our sticky note. So we're going to follow that and take it as it breaks through that level. It's only a 2 billion share offering. I don't think that that's very much. So we'll wait to see where NIO goes from here. But I like it on that offering. I think that gives us an opportunity to buy it down. The playbook remains the same on NIO. Like I said, it was a great trade for me yesterday, one of my best ones. So we're going to wait to see where we go from here.
Yeah, PayPal picking up that Japanese buy now, pay later firm this morning as well. PayPal on the watch list. We'll get to that coming up here, guys. A number of NIO with an offering, a number of other companies as well with an offering this morning. Here's one of them, COTY. Big move down this morning, 11.3%. They announced a secondary my window has frozen apparently, but trust me when I say there's an offering on COTY. The other one, guys, Bumble, BMBL, also down big time here in the pre-market on news of an offering.
Well, Bumble was, if you kind of remember match yesterday, of course, getting added to the index, and then ended up gapping up and then selling off. I mean, I guess they're obviously related. Bumble has had I want to say it had a rough go of it. It was probably, and again, like it's not that you're always going to make these offerings at a good time when the markets are at those highs and they're going to take advantage of the price movement in the stock. But it's sort of worth noting, even when it got to this resistance point at $60, that was still off a good 25% from near the highs when this thing had opened up. The stock is a reopen play. I think that's a lot of the reason why it eventually found a base and started moving into the upside. It had some sympathy run because of match that I think you're taking advantage of with this offering here today. I'd probably look back at like a 50 to 52 level on this thing. I would have hoped that there was an opportunity to short it off of this like 60. That clearly is obviously not going to be the case. But as I look at it now on the 15-minute chart, and again, Bumble does not do a ton of pre-market volume. You can look at where this was trading before it had the match run or the sympathy run there. And then you can say, okay, well, ignore all of this because it's come right back into it. And then you have like this 56 to 56 quarter level, which will stand out. And then you're working off like a 54 bottom possible break. So there are some levels that if volume picks up on Bumble, I'd want to be trading into here. But, the gap down, no activity. So you can't say how it's being received by the market because nobody's trading this thing in.
Yeah, I like Bumble. I think they were doing a few things. We saw, I forget, Whitney something Cummings? I can't remember. No. Anyways, from Bumble there. Yeah, she was on CNBC and talking about that a couple of weeks ago. And I like Bumble. I think that in a reopen economy here, it does work, especially with people getting back to the dating game and things like that. So down to $55, but again, only 6,000 shares today. So not really sure where this one's going to go. Neil just talked about some key levels there. I'm much more interested today to trade. I mean, there's so many names going through here. We're already in NEO. We average into BBIG here. And I just think there's a lot more to trade, but down 4.5%, I think is a great buying opportunity. Bumble started breaking out, if they don't do this. And remember, it's a share offering, right? So you have to think about the reasons why they're doing it. So hopefully they're, raising capital to put it back into the business and start expanding like they said they would. Whitney Wolf, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I believe it is. That just came to me. Someone said Whitney Tilson. No, I believe it's Whitney Wolf. So we'll wait to see here. But I like it. I think you got to buy this thing if you get into the low 50s, which we may even get into today. So I don't look at this as a bad thing. But again, I don't know too much about it. But I do think that Bumble was starting to get going, was off the bottom there. All these recent IPOs, a lot of them not working out. Obviously, you'll hear about a lot of those today on the show. But now you're coming back down to the downside. I think that's a good buy anywhere in here. So I like Bumble. We'll see where it goes.
Well, let's go to DD Global. Yeah, Whitney Cummings stand-up, I think. Yeah. But that sounded so familiar right away. That's why I was curious. DD Global, guys. Let's talk about DD here for a second. There's another headline coming out of China this morning. Their Ministry of Transport said that they're going to crack down further on illegal behavior in the country's ride-hailing industry. There wasn't anything really specific in here. There's a cybersecurity mention on this as well, but ODD down again here, 1.4%. Remember, this thing had a nice little move into the close yesterday, but basically back to within that range for DD.
Yeah, I mean, it had look, DD, it was, I guess, one of the names that had that run when we had a bit of a spike sort of across the board in some squeeze names or whatever you want to call them. Don't buy the dip today unless you want to get yelled at by George Soros, apparently, because he's not too happy with what BlackRock's doing in China. Anyways, that doesn't really matter. I just think it's quite interesting, his comments on that. But if you want to read about it, go check it out. You can always Google it. I think DD, for me, after having missed out on that breakout trade, oh, look at that. My shorts finally showed up. See, they weren't there, and now they just actually showed up. I actually was shorting it off of this level yesterday. So there was an iceberg order at 950. That's the first thing I want to point out here. And then when it tried to take out this top here, and eventually, of course, did, I shorted it off of that 960 top. It then broke out and went parabolic. Thankfully, I had a bit of a stop. Now we're gapping right back down into essentially the same range with that 950 as the bottom. And close to that 960 is your pre-market high. So we're into a support level, a theoretic support level because it's resistance turning into potential support. If we trade below that at the open, I'll probably be hands off DD unless this thing gets down to like 9.15. I'm already playing I'm already playing a dip buy into Clover off of 10.25, thinking that's going to be a more strong name of the names that were squeezers. I don't want to be thinking the same thing about DD, but I can't ignore the big move that it also made here. So I'm treating it along those same lines. If it comes down to like if it breaks that 9.50, I should say, it comes down to that 9.10. That's the only place I'd be buying a dip. I don't love the break at 9.50 because there's no volume, and I want volume if I'm taking a breakdown. So that's not going to be in play just yet. But if it does dip down to 9 even, assuming I'm not blown out of the water in Clover, this would be worth a look.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. DD for me is we'll wait on that one. I haven't really been able to get too many good reads on it, but we have been getting good reads on NEO. This is now 10 cents in the money, and Alibaba is another name that fell. And I just want to show you guys, it fell yesterday after into the close. Sorry, down to 174.50. Come on, charts. So if that can, let's go. The 1 minute chart. So here's the big fall yesterday into the close with a big closing print. So it looks like the closing print was probably a little bit higher here. So, Alibaba, I think, has a chance to go here today as well. We could see a 176 break. I mean, that could happen very, very soon. We still have 40 minutes to go, which is unbelievable, before the market even opens. So lots of stuff still happening, but this is a big move up and then a nice little move back here on a nice closing print for Alibaba. So back up to 176.80, yesterday's high. Seems like it's a possibility there as well.
Let's have a look at some analyst moves, guys, for this morning. Top of the list. Apple. Another price target increase for Apple. We'll talk about all-time highs coming up here, I'm sure, with Netflix as well. Altimmune on here. Coupa, software maker, reported aftermarket yesterday. Upstart, it's been about 4 or 5 days in a row for positive mentions from analysts on Upstart. Now, $300 price target from Piper Sandler on Upstart. On the watch list this morning, nothing terribly exciting to the downside, guys.
Yeah, really nothing exciting to the downside. I thought Upstart, man, it's pretty impressive. Obviously, I was away last week, so I didn't see when it initially started this bit of a breakout, but this is now, because you go back to like August, this stock is now essentially doubled from this breakout. Not essentially doubled, it's pretty much exactly a double from this breakout at the beginning of August, or like maybe call it like mid-August. And that's a pretty clean like consolidation break. Sometimes that 50% matters, and a lot of times I'd be like, okay, well, you get a parabolic move up, you've now made a double up from a clean breakout price. That's the kind of thing that you'd be looking for a short setup. I kind of feel like I need some like days worth of or mornings worth of confirmation before jumping in front of this moving freight train. But it's definitely got to be on the watch. Like I don't see how you're not looking at this stock today. I don't necessarily love it for any breakouts. I'm definitely thinking after that double up from this break, and then you start getting those analyst moves like after a move like this or the upgrades, that can kind of sometimes make a little bit of a turn there. It is a dangerous stock to be shorting, so I want to be patient with it. But Upstart, that's on the radar for sure. Apple, I never really day traded too much, and with the market kind of flat as it is right now, I don't know that I see, obviously a humongous trade there. The stock to me has always just sort of been a buy and hold and never had too much success trading it, except for like a few rare circumstances. But this Upstart really interests me.
Okay, so we averaged into we love an Apple. Apple's also on the sticky notes, so you can find that at Trader TV, Sean. And talking about it's going back to its all-time high, right, with Netflix. So they're both at all-time highs. So we can watch to see where those ones go as they start to lead the NASDAQ. Apple involved in over 300 ETFs. So as the market goes, it's also 22% of the NASDAQ. So, as it starts to go upside, it's going to flow with the market here. BBIG, Vinco Ventures, we did take another bid down here at 11. So average price still 11.22. We'll see where we go. We just got back up to positive on it, of course, but we're going to hold out for a little bit more. Downside here, like 9.50 or so, is where we're willing to hold this one too. So Vinco Ventures is going to have to be a long ride for us today. We absolutely destroyed yesterday's trading, so we can play around with some of those profits here today, guys.
Just looking at General Mills, guys, they increased their forecast and reported earnings as well in the pre-market here. Not one that we typically look at specifically on a intraday type basis, but full year organic sales increase for General Mills after they beat with a smaller decline in their current quarter. So just saw GIS up 2% here. Not one that, again, we mentioned terribly often, but a decent start to the morning.
Yeah, General Mills I can talk about because every time like cereal comes up, my wife reminds me that she doesn't like Kellogg's for unnamed reasons. But General Mills we can actually mention because, look, I know it's up 2%, not usually a very, very sexy stock. Realistically, and I'm not sure this is going to be something that we want to be trading, but you have to sort of overall look at sometimes when you get an obvious trend. And what I would say is if you're looking at this, you get this triple top and then this like breakdown, and then when I see this bit of a pattern, if this stock on a bump can't get past like say 58.50 closing here today, you kind of feel like that's going to be a bad sign. Then you get the idea that everyone sort of thinks the market's going to come down or correct or whatever when it really hasn't in a while. If we can't get that break, and like say like today or the next couple of days through that 58.50, an area like this, so you put in this lower high, you're probably retesting lows like at 54, right? So it's kind of one of those. It's sort of a pattern that was similar to something I saw on Uber that made me hold off on like buying dips. If you happen to like General Mills, I mean, I don't know. I guess I eat a couple of their cereals, but you'd be waiting around for a confirmation for a stock that's been in like a recent downtrend, right? So you see a recent downtrend. One good news story isn't necessarily always going to be a catalyst for you there, or enough of one. Sometimes you want to see that follow through, and then when there's follow through, then you go for it. Like I showed you the chart of Upstart, right? That was doing nothing. If you'd waited for it to break out, like who cares if you're a little bit late on a mover? But if you're in too early, well, I can show you what Uber's chart looks like, and you pay the price sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you could just wait around. I mean, for General Mills, I think you just wait around for that 3.5% dividend, and you take it, and we go from there. So that's basically what I would do, and wait for that. So that's what's coming through here on General Mills. Now 4% dividend. I think with the upgrade is good. We're just watching BBIG here run right back into the money for us. A couple targets coming out here. 11.27. I mean, I put out 11.34, which is basically where we touched out to. That's the high. So we'll wait to see if it can get to that. But for right now, BBIG looks like it wants to start to go. And then wake up, we got a new position alert here. It looks like Clover's having a problem breaking through 40. So I think we probably still continue to go down here, but we'll try it. Some Clover love down here at 10.40. Again, I don't think you need to drop this one. I mean, I don't want to say $9, but I mean, we were sub 9 yesterday, and we finished up 11.10, 11.20 was the high. I guess 11.15 to be exact. Then you faded off late and then started to bounce back. So I like the strong close. I don't really like how volume died off in the last hour or so, but we definitely got going yesterday in the afternoon there. So now we'll wait to see if Clover wants to hold some of these highs. But there appears to be some sort of an iceberg or something here at 10.40 where it doesn't want to let it go. So there it goes. See, like 10.40 disappears, comes right back. So this is going to be a little bit of a problem. If you are long and you want to take some profits, nothing wrong with doing that right here at 10.40, as it appears it does not want to go any higher. BBIG, Clover, and NEO all long.
Guys, keep in mind that on that Clover, guys, I think we put it somewhere in the chat, but 9.25 was the dip price right in the afternoon show when we came back on for Power Hour. That was where it dipped, then consolidation break happened on the show, and it was right around that 10.40 level. If it breaks that, because that's where I want to stop out, be around that 10.25 area, then I'm looking back all the way to 9.50. Always look back to these dip buys. That's where it's going to matter. I mean, I hit that 40 and it hasn't really gone yet, so I'm not going to do anything until it breaks that level or gets to that 9.25, 10.25.
I was just going to mention support, SPRT, starting to get a little bit of volume going on that one as well. Headline on Canada Goose, worth mentioning. China accusing Canada Goose of misleading consumer ads in their company. That's Bloomberg reporting that. Not really affecting the stock, but heads up. For anyone who is a fan of Canada Goose, let's talk about what else is moving around in the pre-market this morning, guys. That is the link to the morning note we send out every single morning before we come on at 8:30. If you still need it, Miss V will be happy to help you out in the chat. If you are looking for that link, all you need is an email address, and you get access to that. Let's go to Coinbase Global, the U.S. SEC, issuing a Wells notice, which is essentially a notice saying, hey, by the way, we're going to potentially sue you, that they send to companies or individuals before any kind of action comes. So the U.S. SEC sending a Wells notice to Coinbase, again, talking about their lending program for cryptocurrencies, essentially saying, sorry, you can't do this, guys.
Reality, debate that has to happen, right? Like at the end of the day, like, it's been pointed out rightfully so, because it's sort of an obvious point to be making here that it's no different from banks lending out money, and at some point you have to decide whether they're going to be treated much like a bank would be or whether, as they say, it's going to be a security. Now, you can get into the back and forth, but Coinbase tried to abide by whatever guidance there was. There wasn't any in this particular case. They tried to meet with the SEC. It didn't happen. Now you're going to get this back and forth. It has to, look, this has to get resolved at some point down the line. I love the fact that Coinbase is out in front and they're going to try to make this happen, and they want to do things the right way. That's why I believe they're investable, and that's why I own one of the reasons I suppose I own Coinbase, and it's a good diversification for them in terms of revenue streams down the line to attract new customers. When it comes to the technical levels, it's sort of obvious what we're looking at. Look, obviously you're going to have the pullback yesterday's 255, which was support that got barely broken and then came right, snap back up, turned into support again, and then it made a range into like 255 into 264. That turned into that support level. We're gapping through it. I think it's a fade in front of that 64 on this news, especially given the fact that we haven't had a full recovery through that 47,000 mark, which was, again, the key level on Bitcoin when it had that first pullback through 50,000. So as long as we're at or below that level, I think below that 264 is a fade on Coinbase. It's 255 you don't want to see break. It's got a clear sailing down to that 250 level where I would be doing a dip buy. I want to dip buy 250s. I want to fade 264 on Coinbase. All that said, if we break 47,000, that short is off for sure.
There we go, guys. Clover out there, some 1060. We did take another long there, so that was a good call, man. We just talked about Clover taking that 1040, so I hope you were doing that with me there, as it's now 1070 here on Clover. So a nice little win there as we go up the scale to hit it one more time. Bang, there goes Clover. Let's see how far it goes now. You still do have some parts here, 1080, 1090, maybe 11. I mean, I still think we could take out the top here. So Clover starting to run now. We already put that money in our pocket. So let's still hold. I mean, we're still in it. We got more. So we'll take a little bit of profit, put that in our pocket, take some more out, and let's see where we go now. Next up on this one, maybe 1090 or so, but Clover with a nice little win here. We will talk a little bit about PaySafe. I mean, PaySafe has been a fun one for sure if you're short, not if you're long. So PaySafe, come on, charts. Let's get going here. BBIG trying to make a run as well. So Clover back into the money. Again, we've already taken off that profit. We just talked about that. Okay, so PaySafe, I don't know. I'm wondering if they're going to get bought out at some point. We'll wait to see. I mean, they just got to get their transactions. They're doing a lot. They're transacting a lot. We'll wait to see what happens now with, I mean, look, we talked about it. NetTeller, Skrillex, they're involved with, I believe it's Will Hill and a few other sports books and things like that. So as that business starts to go, I think PaySafe eventually starts to go. Yesterday, they did have that high of, what was it, 9 and change there yesterday. Yeah, 910, that was early. Let's see, we did fade. Yeah, we started off the day 940, then just faded all day. So it just needs to hold some of these highs. I don't know. Today, there's really no volume, only 8,000. So let's chill out on PaySafe. But look, I'm still in this for the long haul. This is not a swing trade, although it's in that account. I just got to wait for PaySafe to get going. So I still do like it, and I do want to buy on any dips. And I mean, we have that bottom of like 850. It's coming back in. I think you could buy it again at 850.
Heads up on Roku, guys. Headline here for Roku fans, one that can give us opportunities on random days. They've inked a deal with Lionsgate for Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, holiday TV movie. So that just came out. Roku just ticking higher on that headline. Speaking of the market, let's get a look at the futures and check in with Arun, see what he's looking at as far as levels today. We are a negative, Arun, but overall still kind of stuck in this range.
Yeah, but we're getting a little bit more activity, right? Yesterday's range was 45.10 on the bottom, 45.50 on the top. You see the overnight move. We've broken 4,500, kind of opens the door a little bit. Yesterday morning, we were getting some sell-side bias action, so that continued throughout the day. Even after a strong bounce in the afternoon session, we came into close to back down towards the downside towards, I guess, 45.15 or somewhere. We were sitting at 45.20 when I last checked, but we were down by 45.15 and change by the time we closed. We broke 4,500. Now we're back above a nice little snapback, back above 4,500. I'm going to argue that there's still some resistance above 45.20. There's enough action up there to make me think, you know what, there could be a nice little short there. I'm open to the idea of the short, even though we've broken the 45.10 and snapped back, makes you pause a little bit. But given what I saw in the afternoon yesterday, I'm going to say that if we can get above 45.20 and change and start to set up on the sell side, I would like a short there with 45.35. I think for me, that's going to be the cutoff point. 45.35, we get above there, I'm going to give up on the idea of a long. Now, if we get back underneath 4,500 and can't maintain the downward pressure, then you can open up the idea of a long as well. 44.90 is available as a potential support point if we fail that break of the low, which is, I believe, somewhere around 44.97 or something like that. So if we can get below there and can't maintain it, then and we stay above 44.90, then potential longs are available. So for now, 44.90 on the bottom, 45.35 on the top, potential shorts above 20, potential longs if the low fails to hold and we can't get below 44.90. So a couple options there. The range has opened up, but the volume, you can see it is going quiet. Keep in mind, we are rolling over the contracts as well in the next as of tomorrow evening. So Friday's trading is going to be somewhat muted between the contracts. So there are a couple things happening, but again, it's a shortened week. I guess the expectation shouldn't be that high, but next week though, we should get some decent action when everything is settled in. People have moved over from over to the new contracts, and most people are back from their vacations.
Great stuff. Thanks, Arun. We'll check in again tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, Arun is actually going to be in the building, so we'll check in with him obviously then. Let's talk about NIO, $2 billion offering. We've seen this many times in the past with NIO. Bouncing right back here, it would appear anyways. Initial move back to the upside after the gap down, guys, for NIO. $2 billion in U.S. stock.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I tweeted out here. It's on the sticky note, and thank you guys for looking at that as well as you have been this morning. But we just talked about it here. I mean, we can show you the sticky note in a second here, but we've been talking about NIO, off the bottoms here for a long time. We traded it yesterday. Okay, there it is. I was going to say yesterday in the pre-market, basically the same time. We took this long at 41 or so. Was able to cash it out off 40.90. Was able to cash it out there for 25 cents and then 50 cents there before it did fall back down the rest of the day here coming in. This is, of course, is a one-day chart. So NIO trying to hold some of these bottoms. I'm not super worried. It's only that $2 billion, like I said, with a market cap of about $66 billion or so right now. So, but here we go. BBIG starting to make moves now as well, back to the highs of the day. But NIO, this is what we did, man. We're just buying these dips. We're going to see if it can hold. I still think that we'll wait to see what happens at this 39.85 or so spot. There's BBIG. So yes, that's a nice trade for us as it's starting to go back to the upside. We'll talk about that. We're 9 cents in the money right now on NIO, and I think we can go higher. What I wrote down on the sticky note, of course, just so everyone can see it here, was this level here. Great trading yesterday. I mean, like I said, could have been the trade of the day, but we like Sava. Dips into 39, needs to be bought, but then we'll take the break of 39.60. So that already did happen there at 39.60. So now we'll wait to see where we go. We're 10 cents in the money. I still think we can go higher. Probably breaking, if we do rip up and we're able to take $1, that's basically the target is up here. But we'll take another spot out if we can, maybe around 41, and then we'll see what happens around 41, 41.50. But I don't like to look at XPEV or Li Auto or anything like that. I just like to stick with what has been working. There goes BBIG as well. So this is a one-day chart. That's a 10 minutes. So let's check out a 1 minute here. BBIG buy. So we buy the break initially at 11.26, then buy more at 11.04, and now you're up to 11.35, and that's where we just took some out. So right there, what a great trade that was, man. 11.35 out on BBIG. So we're just out of a part of it, so we still think it can still run, but a nice little move here for BBIG.
Yeah, definitely loving that move in BBIG. I'll go to Clover in a quick little second here. Thank you, by the way, Trader TV Randy, popping down some oatmeal raisin cookies in between us. I'll be polite and say, Sean, would you like to have one? Please say no, please say no, please say no. He'll probably say no. Someone just said, Thomas Brady, you asked in the chat, are you going short GAN X on the 990 break or at this level? And I'm like, I literally just got short that stock when it broke 990. The only thing I want to add to NIO is when you see those gaps down and you like a stock, the same way you looked at Clover and there was that gap, not gap down, but that pullback into that 10.25 from afternoon support. Just look at the most obvious support level, right? And sort of look at this. It's right here, 38.85, right? Like you had a top gap, retrace the gap, hold on a pullback, hold on a dip buy, and this last week, I wasn't even here for this, hold on a dip buy right into that 39, so 38.85, and then where does it turn right around here in the aftermarket? That's exact same price, right? So that's always a strong sign. You get a consolidation break at the previous breakout price at 39.40. There is this level here, and that's going to be 39.85 into 40 even, right? So I think that's probably your next consolidation break zone. if there is any selling on NEO today, to me, it just has to be bought in front of that 38.85. That's what I had written down, so I was looking for the dip buy in NEO, not necessarily the breakout. I'll leave that one in there, and hopefully we'll be able to get it. Like I just mentioned, that GANX, you'll see, that popped in there. I got 981 to the short side as that heads back to the downside. It is on our watch list as well.
As is Upstart. Guys, let's talk about Upstart here. It's been a week or so of all-time highs for this stock. We're gapping up again this morning here, 4.5% you can see for UPST. Piper Sandler, the latest in a slew of analysts coming out with upgrades on this stock. Again, AI lending platform, but back in all-time high territory here for UPST.
Yeah, as we sort of talked about, I kind of was talking about this when we were talking about the upgrades and downgrades segment, that, from that consolidation break that it had around 137, 138 into 140 here, that's going to be like August 10th. It's essentially a double, and then you have a 276 print. Pre-market is the high of the day. It's the secondary move. You're seeing it extend a little bit here. Those are the signs where you're looking for a bit of a turnaround. Now, obviously, it's going to be sort of dangerous looking for that kind of a play here. This morning, I'm looking for some sellers to take control, I guess is the phrase that people use from time to time again. But yeah, that's essentially what I'm looking to see here. Now, as you're attempting to make this breakout through like a 274, 275, after some acceleration, I want to see some failing. Like maybe it'll be that 930 rollover trade. Like maybe it'll be, ideally, the best setup would be if we actually got some sell into like this 270 level or somewhere around the pre-market lows, and then it tries to bounce back into the high, which is currently sits at 276, and then you were to get a failure. I'll look at the 1-minute chart for this to show you guys a little bit better. And then you were to get a potential failure at a lower high. So I'd rather it fall, try to pump back in, fail at a lower high, and then look for a short off of the top. So lots of ways to be able to play it. I'm not really looking long on Upstart today. I just kind of feel like there's going to be a short setup on this in the next day or two, and I'm starting looking for it this morning, particularly for that 930 rollover where it gets bought in and fails at the high, and then we can grab a short that way.
The stock that we missed yesterday was Palantir, and we didn't really miss it. It ripped up there right into the close, basically, starting at about 2 o'clock, and then went up to 26.75, and then failed again, and then now we're going to open up low. So I want to see what we do around this 26 area for Palantir. So we're down a little bit now. Whatever, the market's down. We've seen this happen before. So now we'll wait to see if it comes to 26 and change. I'm wondering if the market will roll over here. Apple is at all-time highs off a new event announced, obviously, September 14th. They're going to be coming out with some new iPhones. And, I guess they haven't announced exactly what it is. But they're thinking it's going to be the 13 plus some new products, things like that. I wonder if Apple begins to roll over at some point, which would not be good for the market. But Palantir right here, any buys? We already have a bid down here near 26. So if it does fade out in a little bit if the open, then that would be fantastic. I don't know. I don't really want to punch any longs yet on Palantir, especially with the market being red. But if the market does go green, then that is something that we'll look at. And there goes BBIG one more time. And now we'll see where it goes because, hey, man, we're long right now at 21s. We took some out already at 35. Looks like we're going to try to take out the day's high one more time, which is 36. So we're right here. Let's keep letting this one run. You can't take 10 cents on this name. You sort of got to wait. That's why we took out 10% right there for that 10 cents. Now we're going to let the rest ride. So let's wait to see where we go. BBIG, Vinco Ventures could be a big day. And we're also looking for that Palantir back to 26.
All right, guys, we've been talking throughout the morning on some of these squeeze stocks. Obviously, Clover getting back to the top of the list yesterday. Reddit's Wall Street Bets sentiment list. So Clover was the main one yesterday. BBIG obviously in play again today. SPRT, there's CRSR as well. That popped up late in the day yesterday. So keep those in mind. Let's talk about DraftKings a little bit this morning. They announced a new suite of products for DraftKings on the casino side called DraftKings Rocket. Not really a huge story, but the bigger story for DraftKings is if you go out and look at a daily chart, another one, guys, that's been on a bit of a run.
Yeah. I like DraftKings. I did sell a little bit of that to buy into some PayPal, but and the reason why is because of that daily chart. We did talk about that. I do want to tweet out that BBIG we just got out at 44. So the cash cow just continues to be that on BBIG Vinco Ventures. Okay, so here goes DraftKings. This is a 10-minute chart. You can see what a great little run it's been on the last couple of days. I mean, we were just at $57 last week. Now today you're waking up to a 64 print, so that's going to be fantastic for many, many traders and owners of the stock, obviously, as well. We will try to find out the daily chart here in 1 second, just to show you what we are worried about. And it's just into this area one more time. I mean, we topped out there, we topped out there again, and that's 65. So we're getting really, really close. That's why we took some off at 61 or whatever it was on Friday. I guess that's yesterday. So yeah, right in here, it's probably 61 and change we got out at. Now you're up to 63 and change, 64, let's call it. And I'm a little bit nervous about this, but I do like all the different, come on, BBIG, there we go, another one. That's why we like all of the love that DraftKings is giving out right now to new businesses. I mean, I actually have the app on my phone. They're in the NFT game now as well. It's nice to see that they're in some casino games. So obviously it's kind of a degenerate stock, needless to say. But I've downloaded it, and I think that the more people that look at sports gambling and you open up the app and there's different options there available for you, I like DraftKings, and I'm still long that name. Like I said, I did pair it off a little bit because I thought that makes a lot of sense there. And we'll see what happens today. It's 93,000, which isn't horrible share size, to be honest with you. I mean, we'd like to see a little bit better, but I don't know. We'll wait to see. On that kind of a news, I would have thought that it might have spiked a little bit more, but you still have 64.20 here with a lot of momentum. So this could probably be taken out at that top, 64.20 if you did like it. I do want to look back at DraftKings, say I don't want to forget about it. Maybe buying dips is a little bit better than taking out these tops.
Yeah, I feel like it's a trap. I want to say 64.25 is a trap because it looks like it to me. At least that's the way it's sort of setting up. I kind of look at that like weird like triple top, head, shoulders thing, which is around the 64.50, 65 area. Would have been that failed last sort of move to try to get past there before you made that 40 bottom. And then we're right here, and you're looking at that as both the pre-market high and yesterday's top. I don't know. So like again, like that's a lot of times I look at that setup on positive news and with a strong chart, just say, okay, you're taking a long breakout, but that sets up as a trap for me. So I'm going to stay away from that break. I think all kinds of reason to believe in what is like a gigantic cluster down here, I guess, at about 62 to about like 62.5, maybe even higher than that, 62.60. I think if you get into that range, you're probably looking for a bit of a dip buy. I'm sort of kicking myself for like when the whole score and like pen thing happened, I was like, yeah, look at me. Now I'm finally going to be diversified in this space by just hanging on and taking the shares in pen when I could have just sold it and put it in DraftKings, which is done fantastically, and keep it consolidated in the one you like better. But I'm staying away from this breakout, guys. If it does work, there is upside to that, to about like the 70 level. Certainly, if it gets another leg going, it already put in a small move on a break in yesterday's action on a clean break. For some reason, I look at that chart and I really, really don't love it on DraftKings. Upstart just came down to 272, so first part of the plan is coming to fruition, like it's coming down. Now can it test back up and fail at a lower high, and then I get Upstart for the short.
All right, another one looking very similar, in fact, as far as what's happening today. Netflix, guys, a little change here so far in the pre-market, up 0.2%. JP Morgan, the latest, coming out with an upgrade on Netflix. All-time highs past couple of days here for Netflix. They're talking about increased viewership. They're talking about this quarter potentially being a record, in fact, for viewership for Netflix, guys. So another positive start to the day for that one.
Look, Netflix is up 20% in 2 weeks. And again, like I keep saying to everybody, like everybody that I know, it's not a new story. It reminds me of Google, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously the Google chart looks a lot different, but in respect to the fact that most people probably subscribe to Netflix, and if you don't, I mean, you're definitely catching the content somewhere. So, I mean, Netflix is still going to be the stream king. They obviously take off there when Disney reported better streaming numbers. So, Netflix starts to go upside, and Netflix in the daily chart was really just stuck. Not doing too much. Reminds me of sort of Amazon before Amazon broke out. You sort of had this, I don't know, little channel here. I mean, little, I guess 470 up to 560. So it was just $100 worth, which was a lot because, you used to move $100 like no problem. It's $299 bottom in March. I mean, we can't keep looking at Marches, but this is still underperforming. Like it's only a double it's going to sound crazy, but it's only a double from the March low bottoms, right? So Netflix, in my opinion, still undervalued, still has lots of room to run there. I do like the all-time high break of that six. I mean, yesterday, forget about it. I mean, yesterday's all-time high was 614 was yesterday, but I do like a high break here of about 609 looking at this level. It might even be a little bit higher than that, 609.50, something in this area, just to get above here. And then we could see a run to 611 and then maybe even higher than that. But again, one of my main worries, it's not a worry, is just that as the market fades out here a little bit, Netflix off of a 20-25% move in 2 to 3 weeks is a name that could get sold if the NASDAQ does come back in. People taking profits, which is sort of what I was saying about Apple there, just thinking that, you know, it's already super high. ETFs, we talked about that, over 300 ETFs, Apple's in. This is very, very similar for Netflix. Obviously not that high of a weighting, but they're in a lot of ETFs as well. So if the market starts to dump, it will be because of a lot of these names, and we could see Netflix retrace back. But for now, if it wasn't a dollar spread, I would probably have the order in already. But 609 break on Netflix, hopefully that can happen. With only 10 minutes to go, I mean, I guess it's very, very possible. Cody, MGM, Ford there with the buy as well, and not much else happening right here. So the imbalance locator right now won't be the key to anything this morning.
Yeah, one thing I want to say quickly about Netflix is if you look at that, I mean, it was a $100 range that it was back and forth in, but if you do take a quick look at it, there was always a lower band here that was about like $40 to $50 where you'd had that price acceptance where it was bouncing. Now that tightened up after, but you know, when you get this breakout, you know, through that 590 level, I'm kind of looking for that. Like I would think even if it can't extend too much further here, you still have a good $20 from this point before you start thinking, okay, well, if it holds this 580, that previous top, you should still have up to like 625, 630 if it's going to follow the same pattern. And like we're putting with Amazon, Amazon kind of was doing the same thing when it would make those pullbacks and breakouts, it would hold the same structure during that sideways action that you could take advantage of. For the day trade, it might not be there, but it has to be on your watch. Especially sometimes there's some good swing opportunities there off those 480, 500 levels. Like those are coming time and time again. NVIDIA did something very similar when it was at its top before breaking out. So Netflix, I just like the pattern on this one, and it's going to be worth watching this couple of days and weeks to see if we get that extension and 580 starts to hold 580 up to that 630.
All right, want to make sure we get to PayPal here. Tesla on the list this morning as well, guys. Chinese sales and export numbers beating for August. If you remember going back a week or so ago, there was a note coming out, I think it was Electrek, I want to say, that mentioned these numbers might be worse than expected, but they end up beating. So Tesla pretty active here in the pre-market, up 1%. But yeah, let's talk about PayPal because they snapped up Japanese buy now, pay later firm Payday in a $2.7 billion largely cash deal here for PayPal. So more buy now, pay later talk is the point here for PayPal.
It's the time to do it. Affirm's up big. There was just, look, I mean, there's been several deals in that space. Affirm's actually reporting. I want to say maybe it's tomorrow. Either way, Affirm is reporting this week. PayPal's not even at the highs yet. And this is the thing about like the breakout that they're on. And again, if it had done more volume, you know, I came in, I had a 297.50 for the break, and this is what I was looking at. But there was zero volume when it happened, and the spread just sort of opened up, and there wasn't a heck of a lot of volume going into it. It did set up nicely. Now I'll sort of turn my attention into a dip buy. It didn't really extend through. Volume didn't pick up on that move, which does give it a chance, I think, to come back into like a 295. Now, obviously, the previous top, which is closer to 91.92, could be your first support, but I'm now looking for dip buy 295 on PayPal. And like you said, on the daily chart, you're into this move here that probably feels like it has at least another $10 to it, probably a little bit safer on a momentum play than picking tops on like your upstarts and Netflix all-time highs. PayPal looks like it's poised to be testing that high. I like the 95 dip. You know, if we get a really big move to the downside, maybe I'd consider averaging in 292, but I'd rather just have one look, 295 and leave it at that.
Yeah, just buy PayPal. I mean, they're doing everything right now. If you like fintech, I mean, they're going to be the leader for a very, very long time. I mean, I'm in PayPal and I'm in Square, so and SoFi and PaySafe. So to say that I like that is obviously true. So we'll wait to see here if we take out that 300. I mean, we did call this break when it was right down here. So 270 good longs up to 300, 310. I definitely think we take all that out, man. So here we go with PayPal today. Not even a big spread right now. We only coming to 5-6 minutes left before open. So yeah, we probably do take that out. And look, I love the fact that it was a mainly cash deal. That makes a lot of sense to me. If you can buy things in cash, why not? Right now, cash is a negative value for companies with inflation and things like that. So no point in keeping that on the balance sheet, which is why our friends at Palantir putting on gold, and other companies also putting on Bitcoin and gold instead of cash. So I do like the fact that buy now, pay later with PayPal is going to be an issue, or sorry, is going to be something that they're going to add to their portfolio. So I like the move, and obviously the market does as well, up 2%, Brendan.
All right, about 5 minutes to go, guys, before we get to the open. It's very, very quiet in small cap world so far today. The only one other than this that I was looking at was India Global. If you remember way back when, they were in the COVID game for a while, and then they shifted focus. Now they had positive results on a phase 1 trial for a potential Alzheimer's treatment. So IGC moving around. This GANX, if you go to the daily chart, the only level that matters here is 11. Anything between where it is right now and 11 is kind of a free-for-all, in my opinion. 11 is this level from the pre-market as well. So we're down to 9 if you're not in this to the downside. I wouldn't chase it at this point. If it holds 9, we probably test 11 again for GANX, guys.
Yeah, I'm in short on GANX at 981 on that 990 break. Just to quickly go over it, because only 4 minutes left to go. I already took some outs here in the 60s, some out here in the 50s as well. Because it's a breakdown trade for me, I'm looking at this back to about like 10 quarter, 10-20. It's a breakdown trade. A lot of times when it's the short, sitting in it all day long kind of thing, I'm looking for a pop and a failure. That to me would have been around, like Brendan said, that 11 level. I'd probably be looking at like 1050, 1065 if it makes that move. But there's other names that I like for that potential setup. One of them was going to be Upstart, but maybe it's just still too strong, right? Like, this is not a ton of volume, by the way. Just, okay, this little spike here that I just saw, but it popped up in my chart, so I had to call it up. I was looking for it to pull back in, make a test at that high, but again, this is on very, very thin trade, so it just sort of goes right into the pre-market high there. I wanted it to fail at a lower high, so I'm not really getting confirmation that this thing is done yet. GANX, like I just said, is already in, and that one's working pretty well. Clover, by the way, came all the way back. So we got the consolidation long, and again, I'll sort of show you like yesterday's action, right? So this is the dip, that's that 1025 area. It pulls into that, consolidates, that's where we got the long. Where do we sell it into? This consolidation here. This is 1060 right into 1075. That's where the consolidation was. Going into the closing yesterday's action, that's where my outs are going to be sitting on the way up. It comes right back in, dips down to 1040 again, so we get 37s long. So we're going to rinse and repeat this, although it looks like a pretty big downtrend here in Clover. And this double top, 11.15, it is worth mentioning. This is what I said in the afternoon show. Just look at this bottom here, this 11.25. And that's why I didn't like the 11 break yesterday. For those that were looking at it or following the show, I was like, it's a little bit of trouble to me getting right into this 11.25. It probably fails there, so or shy of that price, or at least checks up. That's what's happened. 10.25 is, or 11.25 is going to be a key price, and that's why you have to have at least a little bit of caution with these longs. They're not taking any profit in front of that. You call it 1080 to 11, 1110 type of range. So I'll be sure that I get some shares out in front of it. You do not want to sort of get caught in a trap where the next level down is a good $1 from here potentially in Clover at that 940.
All right. Yeah, just looking here, looking at Ford, we do have a multi-day break situation, I guess. Yeah, damn it, we can't even see that because of that wick. Oh well, there's a wick. Oh well, now that I'm zoomed in, it's fine. But yeah, there's a wick up here. I wish Ford went to $27 not too long ago. But yeah, we're just looking right here. I'll put out this 20-minute chart. 1320, could be something there. We'll buy it back down here, 1285 yesterday. And again, a new part, Chief of Innovation Officer or something, Fields from Tesla and Apple fame. So I think that makes a lot of sense for Ford. The real high, I guess, is 1322, but if we can get to 1320, we will look to take some of that out now with only 2 minutes to go. Getting ready to rock and roll. We have NIO. We've talked about that and what our plan of action on that one was. We have Clover, we have BBIG, Netflix, and what about Apple? We didn't really talk about that too much. Apple looking to take out the very, very highs of 157.25 right now. It looks like we almost did that just now. It's going to be hopefully, I mean, we are at right now at all-time highs with Apple. So hopefully that, can make some moves right now. 157.27 is the all-time high there on Apple. So that's going to get taken out probably right off the open. And I think we can probably swing long into that if it does test it. I think it's worth it. So 157.27. We're looking at the NASDAQ here. It's not really doing too much. So that's why we are looking at that. And if we do get into Apple, I mean, it might swing around quite a lot in the open, but you give that one about $1, I think is worth it, down to 156.25. So let's wait to see if Apple makes dreams happen one more time here. If the market wants to rally, Apple at all-time highs, we like that one, and then we like Netflix through 609, and then a Palantir bid anything down below near 26. I mean, if that can fall back down, we'll take the long and we'll see what happens. So Palantir back to 26, Apple and Netflix at all-time highs.
Yeah, Clover goes right back into that 35. I'm going to take more Ganex down out in front of that like 930. See if I can get 50 cents right off the open. But support, want to get to very, very quickly here. Watch out for like 2223. This meme name, or I guess squeeze name, starting to get off the schneid a little bit this morning after dropping for the last few days here. Looking for a spike into this like 2223. Going to drop the bell. It's Trader TV Randy on the bell. But remember, today, memes and movers are coming back. That is right. It is that day. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ring it, Randy.
Okay, so we're open. NEO immediately drops all the way down. So we actually do get a bid there of NEO. What was our actual price there? 39.10. So we're not even open yet, but let's see where NEO goes from here, guys. 39.10, we just took a bid. Not open yet, though, NEO.
Yeah, and immediately going to be looking, of course, at support. PayPal comes right back into that 295 level almost immediately, so I get my long into that. Look, I'm going to give this one all the way back into the lows and see if we can't get a spike back into the upside there, guys. So got that Clover, which is heading into the downside. Hope you're okay there, Randy. But this PayPal immediately coming into the long. Now, right back into like 296, but finding some resistance in this 96 range. What the hell was that?
I don't know, something, I don't know what the hell that was, but it was something. Okay, now NEO's starting to come to the downside, so we do have, just took another long there. We'll wait to see where it goes, but we did bid that bottom, so let's take a little bit out here, a 94 if we can get that, and then do we just get it there? No, we did not. We'll wait for 94s to come through on NIO. There it is, so a nice little out there. We do get our Palantir long as well, as that's starting to go, and then there goes BBIG for a nice little win for that one. Wow, BBIG, let's go.
I'm going to, look, oh my goodness, I got to get some out here in front of that 12 even on BBIG, because there's the spike. Like we talked about, sort of getting that little dip buy. No halt on this stock. It just went 10% very, very quickly, but there wasn't actually a halt trade in there. NEO 38.85 was that level we showed you. I got 92s. I'm hanging on to that one for dear life. But the only long that's not really working is going to be Clover. Clover dropping like an absolute rock. And remember what I said? It's like that next level down, you get caught. This one's like 940 to 950. It's making that bounce off 10. So I'll take one shot off of 10. But if 10 breaks, I'm not holding it to 950. I'm going to get back into a long off that level.
Man, we are pretty happy there with BBIG, man. We got out at 12.01 there on BBIG, so a good out there for that. NEO, we did take one out there because we did get a nice little bottom, but we're going to wait to see where that goes from here. But that's NIO now starting to make back moves back to the upside, man. We're really doing quite well now. We just got to wait for Clover. We did take that bid. We'll see about 950 coming through on Clover, but there goes NEO, 12 cents in the money now and starting to rip up to the high side here. Here goes NEO. Nice little trade there on NEO. Yeah, man, it's money time again today. Man, we're doing it one more time on a Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. It is hump day. Well, not pound.
Wow, 39s.
Oh my goodness. That's it. So NEO, we're gonna get some 39s out. I'm actually wanting to hold on to this one for a little bit closer to this high. I'm kind of letting it drift into 39.50 before we get any of this out here. I love that 38.85 area. That's where we're sort of going over it on the dip buy. I guess you could have shorted it if you really, really liked it, but I was not looking in that particular direction. Upstart, while all that was happening, of course, Upstart's going to give the rollover. So, I mean, look, I was looking for a particular setup. It is going to fall off here. I'll try to sell any kind of a bounce that Upstart tries to make. It did feel like this was going to be a turnaround point on Upstart, and it looks like it's already happened. $7 to the downside from the open.
Wow, guys, NEO, what a monster trade here for me on this name. It just continues to make moves to the upside there. We averaged into it. That's what happens when you believe in a name. So NEO straight to the upside here. Just real good. Palantir, real good as well. We're running the stocks today. Clover is coming back to the downside, so we definitely have to watch out for Clover and see where that's going to go. But right now, Palantir out 36 there, out 39s off of a 20 29 bid. Well, you can see we're along 30, sorry, off of the 30 bid. So right now, Palantir making moves to the upside. Clover back down to 950 on a nice little tank move here. We're not heavy into Clover, but maybe we should be as it's coming down to that 950 level, guys.
And I just got into Upstart there, so it just popped back in. We're going to grab this at like 273.50. I'm going to give myself some room. If it fails at 275, 275 half, I can get into some more shares there, guys, to the south side there. I got out of my Clover. Like I said, if it breaks that 10, I'm going to get out of it. Looking for that 950 level. I think that's where I want my base of operation. Well, base of operation. That's where I want to be doing the next little bit of a dip buy, anticipating that it could go right into that pullback zone from the mornings of yesterday's action. Still in some BBIG. I got a bunch out there, of course, at that top, but it's still holding right here at that 1085, which was, that's your break and that's your hold. Still above that price level. And as long as it tries to hold these levels between 85 and call it like 1075, I still think it has a chance to get a secondary move into the upside here.
Man, we're just going to keep getting out of NEO here, man, as the market's starting to fade out. But we're definitely not fading out, man. Very, very profitable day so far. What's up, Brendo?
Novavax, guys. NVAX up this morning, 2% here. A decent volume spike there at the open, got up to 278. They announced this morning they've begun their next trial phase for the combined COVID and influenza vaccine that they're working on. So NVAX, I should say, getting some action.
I remember you, Novavax. Why not? But we'll go back over to PayPal here, guys. Like I said, I'm going to stick in this one. It's going to be one shot. And I was thinking about whether I wanted to be average into this trade. I don't think it's going to make a heck of a lot of sense, right? Like I got a 295 half here. Your first out is likely to be in front of this, like it'll be between 98 and 99, right? So you're looking 3.5, and you're looking to shoot 300 on a breakout. You got to be willing to risk like $3 here. I do have this as my out. If you look in the afternoon, this is going to be like about 291.75. So call it like 292. That's my area stop. I'm willing to risk at least $3.50 on this trade. And then my first out is about that much in the money. So it's 1-to-1 on the first half. And I think I can be in this one for a bit of a longer term. And I think that's the same thing with Upstart here. Although like this was not exactly the setup that I wanted. I probably, look, it did spike to 276. Really a lot of trouble unless you wanted to get shares at 274, where I kind of already had some at 273 half. So as a test back down to 270, I'll probably have to not look a gift horse in the mouth, take the first like $3 or so or $4 on this trade and sort of be happy with the fact that we got something. Although I didn't quite get the exact short that I was looking for in Upstart, it still looks pretty good. Again, it just felt like this was a stock that was rounding into a top here, especially after what you saw in the daily chart. A couple of parabolic moves, a double up from that 140. I just believe this is a rollover. I guess kind of wish I felt the same way about PayPal, which is looking awfully weak right now.
Yeah, same thing. Palantir is starting to fall back down. We did break that 26, but we're taking one more stab at Palantir here. I thought we were, anyways. Didn't I put another stab in there? I thought I did. I did not. So we got to go longer here on Palantir as it does break down through 25. So we'll wait to see where it wants to go now. But I do like Palantir down here. If we look at a 10-minute chart here, there's not too much. This is that 26 level that did wind up breaking. So now 25.50. I don't know if that's going to come into play. But we did talk about the NASDAQ making this move down today, right? So it was very, very tough to be long some of these big, growth names like a Palantir. So we'll have to wait to see where we go here. But I think this is well overdone. Let's wait to see if it gets back down to 25.50. So that's going to be an area for me to have another look at here with PLTR. So 25.50, a little resistance area. So we need to get longer. That was a good out on BBIG. Wow, back here at 12 and change. But we will take one more shot here. We're going to try to hold this one and see what happens around $10. But BBIG, another long. We're back in this name, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I had to buy the dip on BBIG. It just makes a little bit too much sense as well. But I want to go back to Clover if I can very, very quickly. We took that last stab in front of 10. It broke that 10 even. It's getting close to 950, but I'm trying to be patient on this one. Not like sort of over trade into it. I'm trying to be patient, allow it to gravitate down towards that 950 before buying that dip. I can tell you, and it's not... Like, I'm not ignoring GANX. I know this sort of happens every single morning with some of the smaller cap ones. I'm just sort of sitting in a short end. I'm not saying go to the gates of hell, but we did get that fill. I said it would be about that 930. I got out at 931 for a 50-cent winner. Now holding this as a test 9 even. I'll let it break 9 even. This was a 790 stock. I think it has some room to the downside. We're now $7 in the money on Upstart. Again, it's not going to be the perfect out, but my next level down, I'm looking for an out in front of 264. Just have a look at your 3-minute chart. That'll be the afternoon support price. Brendo?
Another software maker that reported, guys, aftermarket yesterday, UPath. down big time, 8.7% still, but huge volume alert there as we broke back through 57 to the upside. Watch out for 58 top of the pre-market here for Path.
Yeah, we were actually talking about Path the other day, and it's one of those Kathy Wood names here that's not doing too well today. But yeah, wow, big spike down to 55, and now trying to get going here off UiPath. So we'll wait to see where that goes now. Maybe taking out 58.50 or so could be something. But wow, what a good bottom that was at 55. I wonder if Miss Kathy's in here buying some UiPath right now. So we'll wait to see where it comes back down to. VWAP might be a buy, but you could always play off that bottom. So let's see if it comes right back. That's UiPath. Neo's not really doing too much, but maybe we're going to get off here again back to the downside. We'll see if we can get going back upside now, but the market's going to tell the tale here as we are still pretty negative here on the NASDAQ, still down that 0.28, guys.
Yeah, the consolidation in Bitcoin is still sort of ongoing below that 47, which does set up for what I was sort of talking about. As long as Coinbase, as long as we're below that 47 mark, 47,000 mark on Coinbase, I want to be looking for a fade if it got to 264. Now, it's a pretty slow move up, not really extending even through 260. I do have a bid to buy in front of 250. I kind of want to be sitting there just in case it happens really fast. I don't want to miss out on a dip buy on Coinbase. But the other look would have been at the top end of that range. It's still barcoding. We want to be ready for any action that might want to come through on that stock. That NEO sort of came all the way up and then all the way back. So I definitely looked a gift horse in the mouth on NIO. I held out right for the top of this cluster here. It got right to like literally a penny away from the order. It comes all the way back in. It does bounce again off of like about 38.50. But if we don't put in a strong bottom here, double bottom, NEO could be in for some further down moves where I don't know if I want to be holding on to this too long. If it does pop up, I'll have to take some out in front of this 39.10. Kind of reckless that I didn't the first time, Brendo.
Some executive changes for Ford. We announced late in the day yesterday. Positive here to start, guys. Just broke that pre-market high on a huge volume spike. So Ford off to the races.
Yeah, we were waiting for that 1320 on Ford. So hopefully that can come through and we'll go long on that one on a multi-day break. We did talk about that one. BBIG, so a nice buy at 1050. It goes up to 1080, so we'll get some out there. 1074 is our average price as BBIG starting to get going again. Vinco Ventures, another 22-cent win on that one. So this name has been pretty spicy here today. Needless to say, we'll take another piece out there at 1006 and let this one continue to run. Thank you, Ms. V, one more time for that coffee. So there we go. We took some out at 1106 just as we passed through VWAP, and there we go on that one. Clover, we bought the bottom there. We'll see if it can go up from here. I do like Clover on a little bit of a run here. Hopefully this can get going. What's up, Brendan?
Big mover late in the day yesterday, guys. If you remember, this was a bit of a halt fest, to say the least, throughout the session yesterday. ARQQ added again, 52% here, just halted and resumed back to the upside.
So this is me like saying to myself, oh my goodness, I forgot all about that stock. I took it off my watch list for some reason, which is kind of ridiculous. I like those halt stocks, but I got to go gates of hell action for PayPal. So as good as Upstart was, PayPal will be sort of the other direction. What I love about this is and I said I would do this yesterday, I'll continue to try to do this for you guys, is when it's on the higher time frame, kind of look at it from that standpoint. The only thing I could have done differently, I think, is maybe catch this at like 50 to 60 cents better in terms of the buying price. Otherwise, I like sort of sticking to where my stop was going to be, down around that 292 mark, giving it that higher time frame and looking for that bigger look there. And so PayPal pulling back. I think your next level down is 88 to 90, so I'll kind of sit this one out until it gets to that price. I, like Sean, sort of took some shares out of, that 15-minute stock. 15-minute looks ridiculous on BBIG. There you go. So there was some outs at the top there through 12, but then it holds what the previous breakout price was in this 10 even bottom, and then right up here to what is now VWAP. I could care less about that being VWAP. It's more about the fact that we're looking at this cluster here at 11 even. Got to take some profit out in front of that 11 even. Would be reckless not to. Do not look a gift horse in the mouth, guys, especially when it comes to NIO, which I'm certainly learning. Is I've taken nothing out of NIO. It has made a higher low again, so I got some shares in there, and my average price now exactly that 38.85 that we like. Definitely going to be taking some shares out when it shows me some profit, because the market slipping a little bit.
Yeah, the market is not feeling good today, that's for sure. But we're still in this game for you, and we're still taking some trades for you and taking some longs. Palantir is getting very, very close to a spot where I'm going to have to make a decision here because 25.80. We talked about 25.50 coming through. We do want to take some more shares. It did start to go again, but it stopped at 26. So we're definitely aware of that, Palantir. So if the market keeps failing, watch out for 25.50. We're not going to hold that forever on PLTR. So that still needs to be watched. Yeah, UiPath, damn it, that should have been bought for sure. 58, damn it, 58. I wish I would have saw that flush out there. See, I'm learning something every single day, man. You gotta, wait for stocks that you like to have these bad quarters and flush, and then try to take that bottom. That wick bottom, it doesn't get any better than that, man. Damn it. Thanks to Brendan for bringing that up to us. Just, Brendan, if you could have been like 10 minutes ago, that would have been pretty cool. But he had it at about 8 minutes. We missed it by a couple. What's up, Brendo?
I'll try harder.
Yeah, that's okay.
Coupang, guys, popping up here again today. Remember yesterday, if I zoom out, what a day this thing had yesterday. We're trying to test this high from late in the day for Coupang.
Shoot.
So anyways, Sean and I are like, Coupang, obviously a great stock, but AMC.
Is Coupang a great stock? Is it?
Okay.
I mean, AMC broke that level that we talked about over and over again. That 48 level that was multi-day highs, and then now it just continues to run. So sometimes we do, you get carried away trading some of these other names, and then AMC was even on the watch today, and I completely forgot about that one. Looking at other things, obviously I'm into BBIG, Clove, Neo, and Palantir. So boo on that one as it continues to go. Crypto's not really doing that much, and you got to. If you're not always learning something, then yeah, thanks a lot to Marcella there, Marcella MC. You are 100% right. If you're not always figuring things out, then you're stale, right? And you're stuck. So you always have to keep going on those names. And wow, that ARQQ's 50% as well. AMC's off to the races. That TAL, we saw that yesterday, starting to go. AMD back down to 107. That was some good outs, man. I have an AMD out at 119, which is really nice. And then let's check out Apple here. I put the order in to take out the day's high. That never happened, obviously, on a dip down into the NASDAQ. So this is providing us with some opportunities. 155.50. Wow, was that a good bottom as well? So yeah, lots of stuff happening. There goes Ford right now. So Ford takes out that high. So we'll wait to see there. I did like everything about Ford. I want to get more long in my own account, but we're at the day's high here. Might have been a mistake waiting for that long on Ford, but hey, that's what it is right now. Palantir is really the big trade for me that I need to worry about. What's up, Brendo?
Speaking of Apple there, Sean, this one, GSAT, popped up last week, you remember, on some Apple rumors, on satellite rumors in regards to Apple, but they, I think, later came out and said it's not going to have that satellite capability. But big volume spike there for Global Star again.
Yeah, I'm going to have to start picking up some of these volume spikes. And the ARQQ, which I don't think we actually got to, apologies, halted upside at 16.25, spiked to 19, bounced right off the halt price. So that's what I'm kind of looking at right now. Like, you're looking at support right at that 16.25 halt. Be careful shorting a name like this. You kind of know the kind of move that it can do. It's already made, like, it was several halts in yesterday's action. I do kind of feel like you can treat this as maybe a stock that can be faded at some point today if you can pay for the shorts. But if we do break out that high, I'm squarely looking about 22 to 23.30 before I would be taking any kind of a short trade. So you're either getting back below the halt price, 16.25, or I'm literally waiting until maybe like $20 to 22.50. Like, you got to be a little bit particular about these because they get pretty dangerous. Upstart now making another run at the high here. So we got the one short. Look at this. I'm sitting there on the bid in front of 264. It goes to 265, but now it's making that test at the high, right? So if it does not break high of the day, this is a roll into more short with the stop at the high, and then we sort of rinse and repeat the price action from before. So Upstart coming back in. Neo's trying to get off that 38.50, but I'm telling you, it's having some trouble doing so. The market definitely not helping out.
No, we just punched more along Neo. Let's just wait to see what's going to happen with that one. Okay, so we do want to get, sorry, that's Neo. We do want to get, excuse me, back into Ford here at 13.1 to take what Valeria says, 13.1, or what did she say for 3 o'clock?
She says 3.00.
Yeah, 300, I think she said. We'll have to go to her to find out what that is. I don't like Valeria in her new spot, by the way, because now I can't see her and have this interaction with her. But
well,
she's back over there.
They can put her on camera.
I know they could put her on camera every once in a while. That might be a good thing. Hey, there we go. Hey, thanks. Hey, Valeria. So what do you say, Valeria? You say we'll see you guys at
3:00 p.m. Eastern Time.
3:00 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, so that's the call.
Everyone's got to have a thing.
Yeah, everyone's got to have a thing, and that's hers. So we're not going to steal it. I was just making sure what that was. But we're going to get longer again at 13.11. So that's where we're going to get long here again around this area. I mean, I think my bid's at 12s or 1s. It's at 12s actually, to be honest with you guys. So 13.12, we'll take that, and then we'll see if it can come back and hold out this 13 level. I mean, I'm really surprised Ford today. I like the 1.5% move, but that news was yesterday, and we didn't really get going yesterday. I mean, if this was the news there, like bang that, like that's barely budging, right? But again, Tesla's market cap 750 billion. Ford's is only like 60 billion, 70 billion. So, are they worth 10% of Tesla? Let's see if that's going to be the case or not. But right now, Ford is into the long, and then we're right back in watching out for Palantir. We just to take another spot there. If the market goes, then Palantir will go. But this is the problem. The market's going and Palantir's not going. So Palantir, this position's in trouble.
Yeah, and like that bounce, of course, the market just sort of coming back off like 15.6. Talking about the NASDAQ, when we say the market a lot of times, apologies for that if we don't clarify. But the rollover and upstart puts in that lower high. So like I said, if it puts in a lower high on that test, I would get back into some more shares there. So I do that. End up with an average price here now of like 274.50. I'm actually going to be bidding in front of the previous pre-market low and then leave this bid in here like a 264.5. So again, I'm showing you the 1 minute when I could be showing you the higher time frame. I could be an upstart for a while. As long as it holds that high of the day, I think I could be in this one for the long haul. We did a similar style trade in Cassava Sciences, which made money, but we ended up holding it all day long and it never really extended on its move. Just to come back to BBIG, because this one is now retesting that 10 level. If it bounces off 10, that's when I'd look to take a few more shares back in. We got one scalp trade into VWAP, and now it's starting to go a little bit parabolic into the downside. So if it holds 10 even on a bounce, there's probably an in and out left. Otherwise, you do have some air below this price.
It's a big time error. Maybe you've got, I just canceled something. Down to 950 on BBIG. So, there's definitely some air up there for sure on that one. And we're just going to wait to see, we're just going to wait to see where it goes now. But we did take another bid here, BBIG 1015. So we've just been sort of massaging some of these longs. But yeah, the run looks like that may be over in BBIG. So we're going to wait to see on that one. NEO's looking like it wants to break 3850. We just talked about that. That should be another one. What is CADL? Yo, what's up? Joanna Hayes, how are you doing? CADL here, this could be on the NASDAQ. Another halt. I apologize. I don't think Brendan came with this name yet. It's only 77,000 shares. So, that's not going to be a name that's going to be super exciting to me, but it is a double halt. We'll find out more about this. It looks like it may be a recent issue. So
if that's another one of those SPACs.
It might have been a SPAC, but it was too low for a SPAC because SPACs aren't $8. They're at $10. But right there up to 13. So we'll wait to see on that one. A couple things coming back now as NEO ripping back to the high side. That looks like a good bid that we did have on NEO down there at 38.6. Ready for Val, did I hear? What's up, Valeria?
Hey Sean, a lot of traders talk about Sphere 3D company. Any stock is up almost 10% today. Could you guys take a look at any for us?
Sure, we can do lots of things.
Power moves as well. So I actually was just adding that one back to my list. It wasn't a huge move. I'm trying not to be angry about myself here. It wasn't a huge move when I pulled this one up. It's obviously a huge move now. That's about as clean a break as you're going to get. Just try to remember where this stock has come from because I didn't think it was here yet. That's why I'm kind of kicking myself. Look at this top here. This is yesterday's top where it failed and turned right at 685, 690. So suffice to say, when you go to the higher time frame, it turns here, give it to 7 even. If you're long, I would consider taking profits this price range. And of course, I didn't even pay for shorts either, so I can't even short it, Brendo.
Just saw a big move down in gold prices. That means GLD getting hit here a little bit. Big volume spike there, and an alert went off as we broke 168. So GLD down about 0.5% here.
I kid, but maybe that's why Palantir goes down. No, they only have 50 million, I think, on their balance sheets for PLTR. Okay, BBIG, Superman. Nice little move there. We did take that bid. It's funny because it's just going down, and we're only been long. We have only been long, and it's one of my #1 stocks today as it just keeps on going to the upside on every bid that we take. Like we're taking these bids, 10.50, bang, got that out at 11.10. We take this one out 10.15, took some out at 10.40, and and now we're up to 1060, and BBIG still making those moves higher. So looks like we caught some nice bottoms here on BBIG. So let's see where we go from now. But 1060, I do have another offer out at 1075, which is right before this move. That might be a little bit, I don't know, generous. We'll wait. 1064 coming up right now on BBIG. Yeah, that's a 1075 right there. So we're kind of waiting for that. I may just push this down to 70 or so, but it's a nice move upside anyways. You got to celebrate your winners, because right now we're sitting on NEO, which is out of the money. But again, we were able to get some out there. Not everything. Looks like it's going to break through 38.50. Is what it is on that one. We'll wait to see if it goes. Palantir, a nice bounce back. Let's get a little bit out here as the market's not really going back to the upside. So I think with Palantir move back up, let's take a little bit off as we just did average in at 75. This is going to be a losing trade, but if we can, I mean, we only need to get back to 26. That's where we're at right now, VWAP. So if we can get some out here in the 90s, I think it's well worth it for Palantir as it's starting to come back up. Here we go. Come on, Palantir. Let's get those legs.
Yeah, this is the one I was hit. I hit the key and we went to Valeria. Apologies. Didn't mean to hit it over. I just trying to time these things live. Upstart made that move down, was able to get some shares out there in front of 270. We had reloaded at 275. Again, I'm still bidding in front of 264 half there. Just want to quickly show you why I'm looking at that level. This was obviously a dip in the afternoon down to about 262. So I'm kind of sitting in front of it to take this one out. It's a super strong stock. I just felt like this was the start of maybe a bit of a correction, or at least a bit of a pullback, like we're saying over and over again on Upstart. And I wanted confirmation of it. That's exactly what we got off of the open with the failure at that high. So we've shorted it now twice, and it's worked out. I got into any, by the way. I talked about that sort of 685 to 7 area. I caught some on the way down here at a 681 short price. Not a great price, but I got to give it to 7 and see if we can get back into VWAP. Brendo?
At Trader TV, Randy letting us know that Lucid getting hammered this morning, guys. Here's why. They've begun the redemption of those warrants we talked about a week or so ago. They announced this was coming, and today appears to be the day. So another 3.5%. Did get a bit of a bounce, guys, but all the way back up to that gap level. But rolling over today for Lucid.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, to me, you just have to be in Fisker, Tesla, or now Ford for me to be, for the winners there. But Ford, we've averaged into that one. So we're getting out some more Palantir. So now we're right to where we need to be, right back to flat on this trade. So, wow, that was a little bit of a slippery slope there on PLTR, but we did take a little bit more out as, our net just keeps on growing here. So that's a pretty good one. There's Ford taking that 12 long. I don't know if we actually dipped down to view up there at 1308, but Ford, we're up, 1.5%, which is nice. We'll take it. It's a nice, but it's not fantastic. I still want Ford to keep its move to the high side here. We're long at 17. We'll take a little bit out if we get back there, and then watch out for the day's high to break here on Ford. BBIG, man, we did exactly what we thought we'd do. So we'll belly dance it around there. Got out at 1060 there on this move back to the upside. We said we'd wait for 75. We didn't. I don't know if it came through. It doesn't look like it did. So out some there at 1060. Now we hold a little small piece on BBIG there. So that seems to be a really nice one there. Fisker, they got a JP Morgan upgrade. I believe the Ocean is going to be something. It's actually in production, so hopefully that can get released, unlike some of these other places. These other car companies right now still pipe dreams a little bit. So we'll wait on that one for Fisker. So that's sort of why I do like that. It does look like right here, NEO's about to break that 38.50. So hide your kids and hide your wife.
Yeah, Neil's going to be a disappointment. I actually accidentally got out of some shares of any there, so I'll just sort of pop right back in at the same price. You make a keystroke, and if it presents you with the same price, I'm just going to get right back into that same position. So you kind of see two executions there and don't make a lot of sense. There was a crazy wick to the upside, most of it dark, not really trading up to that particular price range. But NIO is going to be, PayPal stunk, obviously, and then NEO's going to be basically the same thing. At this point, you're holding an offer below this price. This didn't actually trade up to 39. Otherwise, I would have got some shares out. But unless we snap back above 38.50, I'm going to be getting out of this one in the 50 price, in this 40 to 50 range here. Just looking to see it trade down in this price and see if there's enough acceptance. Right now, I'm not actually seeing it. So we could be at a NEO very, very shortly here, and that's going to be a losing trade. Still hanging on to Upstart. I know it's like looking a gift horse in the mouth to not take it out for a $7 winner. But remember, we've scalped it a couple times for big wins. I want to be holding on to the ones that are working for you. And it's sort of one of the things we sort of talked about learning all the time. Why am I not at a NEO? There we go. Sorry. We talked about learning all the time. One of the things I've been trying to do with these higher time frame stocks is make sure that I'm allowing the trade to work for me. So while I'll have a clear stop in NIO, if something like Upstart And again, like I could just continue to take this out. It's going to be, well, I shouldn't say this, knock on wood. Hopefully it'll be my best stock of the day unless I really truly mess this up for the rest of the day. But it hasn't shown me that we're wrong yet with the thesis that this has turned into a short, even potentially like a multi-day short. So I want to make sure that I'm hanging on to this at least down into what I think is the daily target between 62 to 64, and then finding ways to get back into that trade both today, in the afternoon, at lunchtime, maybe even tomorrow. So that's the idea that I'm going for with Upstart, but I have to go this for NIO. I'll throw a name out there because I own GM. GM to me is that, like, if you want to play a riskier play in the EV space without taking a name that Sean didn't mention, do GM, because they're not even doing hybrids. They're going all in on EV, which is risky in their regard, but then you get a company that actually knows how to make things as well. So it's kind of playing the middle with those. BBIG, and we haven't once done a reference here, Sean, for BBIG.
Yep.
And this is the best I can do because we don't actually have any. I don't think we can use actual music from Biggie. We'd probably get like copyright nonsense or something like that. So we'll drop our own music. There we go. BBIG back up to like 1075. We can.
Yeah, of course. You have what is it, 10 or 15 seconds of commercial music that you're allowed to use, but I leave that to the experts there. But we will go celebrate.
Juicy?
I don't know. They know. Maybe I'm wrong. They know. Okay, so there it comes right back to the upside. Yeah, BBIG, I mean, bang, 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 bang. I mean, it's just buying dip. Like, we have this print. Are you kidding me? We have a 10-14 long right here on BBIG. So, I mean, you know, you got to give me one more chance. If it comes back down to that one, then we'll take that one more time. But right now, we're going to hold the rest of this to the upside. No more offers on BBIG, and let's just see if it continues to climb upside now. Unbelievable that we've actually dropped today, and we still have all these big wins on BBIG. So that's the name of the game right there, right? There we go. Yes, sure. Take your shots, you know, and then make sure that this is the thing. I've had to upsize the wheelbarrow lately, so I think that's a good thing. Make sure that if your wheelbarrow has cash flying out like that, that you either get a bigger one or a lid.
Maybe don't use a wheelbarrow. Well, I mean, we're doing it for fun. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Don't put it under your mattress.
Don't do that like on the street. Like, don't like start wheelbarrowing money through on the street like that. But definitely
That's about as dumb as putting like a diamond on your forehead.
Yeah, that guy got it ripped off, by the way, Lil Uzi. So, yeah, more to come on Lil Uzi having like $1 million, I don't know, it's 24 million he claimed. I bet you it was fake. But apparently that got ripped off his face. Good for him.
I got to update here because is this sort of a trading show? We'll go, I'm on this page, so we'll go.
Wow.
So remember Any? When we came into that stock, it was like very quickly trying to spit out as fast as I could. Guys, we're right into this level here, that 685. My short here is at 681. It does fail off the 7 even. This is going to be the out. It is VWAP, but also, look at this. This is like 660 here, that 660 there. It also happens to be VWAP. So I know on the chart it's going to look like, hey, pure VWAP retracement, but that also was a previous level on ANY. That's why I accidentally got out here and got right back in at 81s. But we're going to take some out there for a quick 20-cent win. Going to hold on. If we break that, you have room to maybe bounce off 650. If that goes, you're looking all the way back to the breakout at 635. So ANY, thank you guys for bringing that one to my attention. I had just looked at the damn stock, not put an order out on it. And then you guys are bringing it back up, and it's like, oh, it's already gone, and it went from a possible long idea break to a short idea. So as long as you know what the levels are, as long as you, when in doubt, zoom out, you can find the next trade instead of regretting or harping on the fact that you missed the first one. It is already 10 o'clock, which means we have to get to Brennan at the big screen. It's time for Happening Now.
Hey guys, yeah, a bit of a reversal to what we saw late in the day yesterday as far as markets are concerned. As we start here, you can see the S&P just going back into negative territory, was holding on to a slight gain along with the Dow to start things off. On the other hand, it's the NASDAQ leading to the downside here, only about 0.3%, both the composite and the 100. But as we saw yesterday, it was these two negative and the NASDAQ in positive territory. So a bit of a flip of the script here. The Russell as well to the downside today. You can see small caps under pressure. Same story here in Toronto. The TSX, little change to start things off. Some gold pressuring Toronto stocks to kick things off today. Not on the list this morning, but we mentioned General Mills popped up after earnings. What a move this thing had. 4% straight to the upside, 58 straight through to 59. Barely a red candle for GIS so far this morning. Netflix, another one I noticed trying to get back up to those highs from yesterday. We did go positive on the day, obviously, after being negative, guys, for NFLX. Back to you.
Netflix be strong. So someone when we talked about Netflix, I saw in there someone's like, it's going up because Money Heist has a new season. I'm like, I actually stopped watching that show. Like, I loved Money Heist, and then I couldn't get through.
You
I think
didn't
it was
watch
like,
it, so
I think it
I'll
was
have
like
to get
season 3 that I couldn't get through.
Really?
And I'm like,
Okay.
that. Like, if you haven't seen season 1 of Money Heist,
I'll have to,
that
yeah.
show it's legit, man. Like, that's a really quality show. I mean, all this to say that.
I mean, that is why it's going up. I mean, there are, you know, there's new content.
Yeah, the new content's fantastic. Like, it's weird because I was on an Amazon Prime shift, and ever since Bosch ended, it's like Netflix are the things that my wife and I are watching right now. So it's kind of like, as their titles are starting to get the bounce, I think it's fantastic for them. I still have the bid in Upstart. I'm actually going to go ahead and do this because I kind of want to cancel this bid as it starts to work in the money. And again, we talk about learning from things. If it made a bounce off of 265, right? Like the logic behind leaving my bid in here at about 264 when breaking the low here, I'll go to the higher time frame because it always looks better in the higher time frame. If it broke the low, decent chance it's going to go a little further than just like a 264. Like it might put in something closer to that 61, 62. So that's where I should back my bid up to. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. Going to adjust it, try and capture a little bit more of that move. If we do bounce here, I have to really start to give this room. Like, is it really wrong? Like, is this short idea really wrong if we're able to hold this like 272.50? You know, that's still a couple of bucks worth it in the money here. So I want to give this one more room. We're going to be up on the stock no matter what, right? It's reckless now to give it to the high of the day, I do think. But I kind of want to be trailing it back at like 272.50. BBIG, I don't know if that's a stock you want to be trailing. It's like, it's more of a, it's doing so much volume, BBIG, that I kind of want to keep it in that scalp mode. And I kind of wish I second out. I had held out for VWAP. I didn't do that. I kind of feel like an idiot for that. But as long as it holds higher now than the original breakout price, which is, you know, right around here, like this 265 or so 1065. I mean, forget about these levels down here. I'm looking at that pre-market high break, which is like 1065. If it holds above that, I think we're retesting at least 1150, let alone that $12 high. I mean, it got to 1221, but realistically, 12 was basically the high.
Okay, so we've averaged in a little bit here to Palantir, so it's right back down to that spot. That's why we got some out when that popped. We talked about that, you know, trying to not make every single trade like a crazy winner. I mean, that would be great if we did that. But again, sometimes if you're noticing that the market's not really reacting to the same way that you thought it would to a move, sorry, the stock's not reacting to the same way that the market's moving. That's why we got that out. We got really close, man. We were actually in the money on Palantir when it did come all the way back up here because of some of these bids. So now we'll put another bid on, and our average price now 91. So at least if we can get back to where we were on Palantir, then maybe there'll be something there. And I'm not just trading this because it's Palantir. I mean, that does help. I do like that name. But at the same time, you know, we are looking at Palantir right now for various reasons. It's at some key spots, right? And so here's the 20-minute chart. We're watching this 2560, 2550. It's a nice dump down, and it does have the capabilities of going back to the upside here. So let's wait to see. There, we just bought some 75s, right? Right up back to 83 again. So hopefully that's going to be nice for us on PLTR, and we'll just wait to see where we go on this one. But there it goes up to 85 again. So a nice battle back on PLTR. And then, man, it's giving us one more chance again, BBIG, as it coming right up to 1140. That could be a good spot to get out. If it goes up there, I'll debate it, but I don't have an offer right now.
There's a part of me that's saying just take the profit. I'm not doing it just yet, but I am making an adjustment on GANX. Like every now and then it'll be sitting in one that's like, okay, the short has worked just fine sort of getting out here. It broke 9 even and didn't accelerate. So I was kind of looking for a 9 even break to accelerate at least halfway towards yesterday's close, 790, so maybe like that 850 range. It doesn't. It actually bounces, retakes 9 even. Once this happens, an on volume spikes off 9. I've adjusted my stop. I'm no longer giving this thing all the way back into that 10-15 area. If it breaks 975, I'm going to be out here. I want break even basically, you know, I'm short of 981, so basically around break even for my new stop on GANX. Just got to watch out for this because that's a big volume spike after a failed break through an even dollar range at 9. So as weak as it's been, as much as it's going to be a winning trade, got to always adjust with the times when you see the price action start to come back into the long side. And this stock, I mean, it was trading, you know, it was actually doing volume above $10 and $11 earlier in the session. So I don't want to get caught with my hand in the cookie jar there. We're going to make sure that we're continuing to, I don't want to say Gronk spike, but I mean, he's famous for the spike.
Yeah, he is.
Spike those profits. And anyways, I also don't like Gronk because of what he did to Tre'Davious White. You know all about that.
Yeah, that was a good
I'm a
move.
big Bills fan, if you haven't figured it out. Gronk kind of got angry on a play and took a cheap shot at one of my favorite players. So anyways, that's why I'm not a huge fan of him. He's a fantastic player. AEI, a name that we have not talked about just yet. It is on my radar now after showing a clean trend. It gave that 930, I guess, pop rollover trade. where it sort of gave you the move in here to like 280, these lower highs, and then came back in. The trend is pretty clean to the downside. I think if it comes in and can't get past like a 270, it's worth a shot for a short. I am already in a bunch of different symbols here, so it's kind of pressing it to add this to the list, but this does catch my attention. Do the icky shuffle, Tyrone Bigham says. I don't know if I'm doing the icky shuffle.
I'm not sure what that is, Tyrone. Normally we're on with you on some of those things, but the icky shuffle, yeah, for me, not familiar with that. Clover's right now near some spots of concern, obviously, down to 950 area. We're down there. We've been averaging in. I'm pretty happy. I mean, I shouldn't say I'm happy with it, but I'm not upset with the trade. So we're just going to wait on Clover. I mean, I wish it would be starting to go back to the upside. Yesterday, I guess, was a little bit of a pipe dream for everybody on Clover. But that's about to happen on some of these names, man. Like what happened yesterday, okay, it's not showing our trades, but what happened yesterday was just simply bang to the upside. I mean, the volume came in, lots of volume, and you're seeing today, really now the volume is starting to die off. So I'm not sure if Clover is now done or what, but we do have some levels here, 950 being one of them. So that's coming up to that right now. And unless there's some sort of a report, maybe on Wall Street Bets or something, I don't know if Clover has the love in it today. I mean, it was up 20% or so yesterday, I believe. And you're giving back half of that, if not more today. So yeah, Clover just doesn't really want to go. But unfortunately, wish it did, but it does not. BBIG is right up to 1140. We talked about that one, man. I mean, we're getting, very bullish, and we've already been bullish all day. These are all buys. We don't even have one short on here. So nice movement upside here on BBIG, and that's still trying to go. We may have missed our spot, man. Maybe we need to get out there because, again, that's right. I said 1140 would have been a spot. It went to 1137 there. So BBIG looking to take that out. If it doesn't, then maybe we should get out if it breaks back down below 11.
Here's the thing, though, Sean, and I'm sort of pulling back. When in doubt, zoom out. And usually, look, this was at like 930, like fail, break, rollover all together. So you get out of that long and fantastic, you buy the dips. But yesterday, afternoon high, post-market high 10, pre-market hold at 10. If it holds this level, I mean, usually that's that setup for an afternoon run or a lunchtime or 1:30 or whatever the heck you want to call it. The fact that it holds, all kinds of a sell where you think the seller's just got in control of it and it holds that 10 level, sometimes that gives you a secondary push. So I kind of want to still be net long as long as this thing is above $10. I don't want to be taking off a 10-11 trade when maybe this is taking out the top and you can hold into a potential halt if it were ever to break 12 again. Brendo again?
This EFTR, guys, if you remember from midday yesterday, a little low floater got going to the upside through midday, halted a couple of times, trying to do the same thing here. We're retaking some levels that ended up forming late in the day yesterday, that 13 anyways, for Effector Therapeutics, EFTR.
So apparently EFTR isn't a one-hit wonder, although and the only reason why I'm saying one-hit wonder, and I didn't even do well on Effector yesterday, but Icky Woods, by the way, was one of the all-time one-hit wonder running backs in the NFL. He had one good season, but he had the Icky shuffle. He played for...
Oh, that's why?
Someone tell me who he played for. It wasn't a very good team that he played for. But anyways, yeah, he was a one-hit wonder. EFTR is not a one-hit wonder, but again, and just like ARQQ, when you get these halt stocks, right, where it's like a couple of days and it's on that second day, you can think about fading it. So as much as I had no success shorting this stock yesterday, it was actually my second worst stock. You look at today's action and just sort of say to yourself, okay, well, you do have some actionable price areas. Now, it disrespected 15, which was halt price and afternoon resistance, but did turn around below that price. So a lower high off of 15 would be a good short. If it would ever take out the 15.15 high, I'd probably look at that 17 level and give it to 17.50, if only because not only that wick, but this halt top as well. So there are some actionable levels that you can, I guess, more comfortably short if you're looking at EFTR. And I guess the same applies to if you are long and then looking for some outs, probably look at some of those prices from yesterday's action as well, especially those halt prices, guys.
Yeah, Ford right now is coming to the downside. So we did get some out there as we got back up there to 17, and now we're starting to fade back in a little bit. We talked about this, that Ford, again, we got excited taking that high, and I mean, why did we take it? It wasn't one of those multi-day breaks, but again, when you look back at it, I mean, this is really right where it went to again. So we top out there on the 1st, then on the that's still the 1st, then yesterday, or what day is it today? The 8th. So then on the 2nd, and then yesterday we got as high as 315. I guess that's in the pre-market today. Yesterday as high as 1304. So, we're going to try to go long again right about now, and just to see if we can hold forward through some of this nonsense back down to, I mean, if we have to hold this to 1280, then that's just what we have to do. I hope we don't have to do that for trying to make that move back to the upside. And Palantir does go. So this is right where we were long, man. Our average price was 89 there. We just took a piece out at 89. So now, we're trying to let this one run again. We've been negative on Palantir. It doesn't take much to get this thing back to positive. You see the NASDAQ starting to go as well here. So hopefully Palantir can make this move back to the upside. Here we go. We're long now 86. So do I have any offers out? I may not. I do not. So Palantir, well, let's take another one out just before VWAP here. 94-ish, maybe 93, and we'll wait to see where it goes. But that's Palantir right now, looking like it wants to make some new highs, hopefully, and take out this VWAP. But again, if the NASDAQ goes, I think we do that. So let's watch Palantir. Real targets, real talk, like 26.15. If we can get that, that'd be pretty sweet. But we will take another piece out just before VWAP. In case that happens again, we bought and picked twice.
Real talk. A little R. Kelly action, apparently. Why not? I want to get back to any just because, I'm sitting in Upstart. We already went over the plan. I moved my bid down as it tests that low. So, again, I'm not trying to look a gift horse in the mouth for it's $8 the money, but we're trying to hold on to that one at least for about 262, 263, which would be about 10 to 12. Now, it pulls back, and we got out some shares here around that 650, which we like. Now, the breakout did occur at 635, but I'm actually targeting, down at like 615 to 620 for my last out. The fact that it's trying to put in a higher low, a lower high off that 685 to 7 area kind of bodes well for hanging on to a bit of the short, but I don't want it. Like, I was going to give it to $7 here, but once it's actually made this pullback, if this now bounces off of like 650, I don't want to be giving it all the way back into 7 even. I want to move this stop down to about like a 690, not even allowing it to take out the high of the day. Too strong a move if it retakes the high of the day, or even tests the high of the day at this point. Like, I could have added to the shares here at 670, but I don't want to be fighting this one. BBIG is looking pretty good. Everything is sort of sitting pretty comfortably here. I want to have a quick look at some point at Visa, because I know you guys are talking about it. Canadian investor, I do see you.
Yeah, I love Visa. I think Visa need to buy on any dips. I mean, you already know that I'm all over fintech, and Visa obviously a big one as well in that space. You got to stick with the big guns at some point. We're just trying to bottom pick a little bit on PaySafe. I don't know if that's going to be working out or not, but there it goes, man. Palantir, we'll say diamond hands just because it's come up to VWAP a couple times, and we've been able to get out, but now we're going to try to hold. So that's where the diamond hand comes from, not really from our trading thus far, but we like it. I still think there's a lot of opportunities here for that trade to come through, but here we go now. Let's see if Palantir wants to go. We just took out some 99s there. That's right where we're at. So Palantir, a nice one for us so far. Let the bulls be kicking on Palantir. Okay, so no, that's not Clover. What did we just got out of something there? What was it? No, we bought some more Clovers at 960. That's what it was. So, all right, so Clover buy. We're right near these bottoms. Now we have a decent sized position. I mean, this is. We knew this would happen. We're not, I don't stick all of the money in, when this is kind of happening, right? So, but we are getting closer and closer to that kill spot here on Clover, which is going to be that 10,950. We'll get out of a little bit there, but I do want to hold even for more bottoms. I think it could get flushed out there. So we're going to wait to see if that can happen. Ford, unfortunately, we were waiting on 1305 there. Wow, Randy coming through, and it looks like that might be an apple fritter there for you as well. So Randy coming through.
Randy.
Thank you, Randy. That should be.
I have to run like 10K tonight, but that's okay.
Damn, that 1306, 10K, that's it. 1306 there instead of 1305. That would have been the play, guys. My bad.
So I'll get to this pastries in a second, but I promised I talk a little bit about Visa here because obviously it's going to be interesting pulling in a lot of this gap that it has in on a few sessions in a row. What you want to look for in the midst of this little bit of a pullback, because it's already filled in essentially, it hasn't filled in the whole gap, but on the 15-minute, like what you're seeing is it's pulled right back into this previous low, which is that 228 level, 228.5. So successive higher lows. As it bounces down off 228.5, you want to see it either check up 227.75 or like 227. Either one of those bounce levels, if you've been waiting to get into this move, not a bad little bit of a place. Buying through the top on a day trade wouldn't make a heck of a lot of sense because you have chop from 228 to 228.5 to 230. However, as Sean sort of probably rightfully mentioned, I think he said, I mean, if you're buying the dip on this thing on a long term, that makes a heck of a lot of sense. Swing trading, maybe not so bad either. On the day trade, you really want to let it pull back probably at least another 50 cents to $1, at least from what I was looking at, guys. So Visa, not super exciting for me on the day trade, but it is at least getting interesting. If it can break back into this consolidation 30s to like 35s, that would be a strong sign for the stock. It has been in a recent downtrend, so you want to make sure you're really breaking that trend. Filling in the gap is a good start, but it's just a start.
All right, so what did we just get filled on there? Okay, so Palantir, sorry, back to 98. Okay, so we did take a little bit off there. It saw 26 and turned around. We're long at 75 now. So, hasn't been great trade today, but we did bottom pick beautifully here on Palantir. And I said that, where we were looking for was really up here, 10s, 12s, 9s, something like that. So if Palantir can get going here, this should be a nice one for us now, making moves back to the upside. Looks like it wants to be Palantir, so let's go. Hopefully we can take out that 26. Again, we're not as heavy as we were on this, but, here we go. Neil just cannot stop with this apple fritter. And I mean, that's the problem, right?
There's
Once it's in front of
me.
Once it's in front of you.
There's an apple fritter in front of me. And Randy just brought Timbits as well. Like, this is ridiculous. My coffee is fresh. The trades are going pretty well. I'm not happy.
Christmas comes early with Randy around.
Although I'm not happy about a few things. One, and I didn't say this yesterday, and I probably should have said it, because I know we were talking about the crypto flash crash. And there was a point, come on, what's my daily on? Yeah, there we go. And I was actually looking at Silvergate here and was like, oh my goodness, like it was a chance to sell. I could have actually sold some at just around this 120 level while the crypto sort of crash was happening. It was right at resistance anyways. And now it's starting to pull back in. It's already at $1.12. And again, like if you look at the structure of the stock, it does not move as violently, guys. They're not the same type of play. Like, anyways, it's just not the same type of play, but it was an obvious sell opportunity there at 120 that I didn't mention. I think it maybe gets back into like the 100 level as long as we're not breaking back out of a 47,000. I'd look for that for a bit of a dip buy in Silvergate, but a huge missed opportunity. It was holding up so well yesterday in that flash crash. There was a good chance to take profit in front of what was already resistance. It's time for the small cap recap. Brendan is at the big screen. GANX.
Yeah, going to be a quick one today, guys. Not a lot to look at. Wow, that was a big shot of Neil. Not a lot to look at in small cap world today. This was really the only one that in the pre-market was clearly giving you enough range to have some sort of opportunity once the market got open. So was talking about this just before the open. 1050 was made clearly a level in the pre-market a couple of times here above that. If you go to the daily chart, I mentioned this area over here was 11. So two areas to kind of look at, base the trade off of for GANX. Gets all the way down to 850. Above 10 gave you an opportunity down to about 850 for GANX. And then the only other thing I was looking at was this SPRT. There was a clear support area in the pre-market that got smoked right at the open. Gave you a retest of 20.5 there down to 19.5. That's about it. Pretty quiet day, guys, for small caps. Back over to you.
And speaking of small caps, let's go to any for a quick second. Because I said I'd tighten up that stop. I still do hold on to some of the short. I definitely looked at, oops, actually I got to get on the page here. Definitely looked a bit of a gift horse in the mouth. It still has a chance to reverse up, I guess not. I was about to say it still has a chance to reverse off the high, but you're going to see me take it. I talked about tightening the stop up, not giving it to 7 even. That could be a bit of a mistake. Again, like you don't want to say that, oh yeah, because I only had a little bit left. If I had the full position on, I'd probably be hanging on to it. Nah. That's a strong move for it to bounce off the breakout price and then retest the high. My feeling was, and I kind of said it before, that if it was going to do that, it was probably going to take out the high. And I would look for, in that particular situation, I'd be looking for a failed breakthrough if I wanted to short it again. Like I'd want it to break 95s, hold 7, and then come right back in. So rather than give up what I anticipate is an extra 10 pennies, I would look for a stronger shorting opportunity, which I think would be it breaking the high, which it still has not done yet, by the way, and then failing at 7. Of course, it does the exact opposite, which is touch the high, not break it, and then come back in. So I don't know, whatever. I probably would have stopped out like 5 cents further than that anyways when it touched that 95. But it does look like while being a positive trade, I definitely left some on the table with this one. To come back over to BBIG, because I know it's still moving, but it's coming back into the downside. Top might have looked a gift horse in the mouth there, but I don't think so. The fact that we're able to hold on a dime that 10 even, like we said, And then if we put in a higher low, this still has a chance to break towards that $12 range. And if I take it out shy of the high of the day, it's probably going to be around somewhere between 11.50 to 12. I know that's shooting for a big target area, but when it got up to that price, like it was just air anyways, right? Like you kind of wanted to be, like if it got up and it wicked to like 12.20, when it got to that high and broke 12, snapping out of that trade was literally paying down at 12 even, right? Like getting out on the way down. Like you couldn't have, like you're not getting, like you're not getting 12.10 and 12.15 and 12.20, like unless you're an algo or anything like that. Those weren't prices you could get. And I think the same thing can happen if it breaks 11.50 there, because it gets pretty thin pretty fast on that name. ARQQ, I know we've kind of been ignoring that one. I mean, well, kind of. It did make a bit of a breakup here. I was probably looking to fade that at much higher prices, like I said, around that $20 level, although it's giving you a bit of a look here off of that previous halt price. 16 to 16.25 looks like resistance, but for this stock, every time there's a good resistance level, it is breaking it, going 50 to 60 cents, and then reversing. So you have to give this stock $1 worth of room, which is a lot to ask for a $15 stock. Brendo?
Terrian, ATER, another one that's been on the move of late on a daily time frame. Look at the volume coming in here right now. Trying to get back above 8 for ATER, up 13-14%.
All right. Yeah, Neil just keeps getting caught here, I think. I mean, I hear Randy laughing in the background, so I'm figuring that something's going on with that. Of course, we're having fun with that. It's nothing but apple fritter love. We'll have, so we have memes and movers coming for you at 11, so get ready for that, man. Only 40 minutes away right now.
Get Prad some Timbits, man.
Is memes and movers. And then we do have coming up as well for you guys tomorrow, Arun will be back sitting in the seat. So for those of you that are missing Arun, he was here earlier, going to be with us every single day for the futures, but will be in the seat tomorrow. So that should be exciting as it's first day of school. So that should be an important one for many people. Look, I mean, there's a lot started yesterday, and I hope that everybody, especially in the United States, I think it was maybe last week. I don't know if it's state dependent, but you know, guys.
It started last week?
Yeah, I believe so. So there was already like 1,000 schools closed or something. Yeah, just best of luck to everybody, and please stay safe and obviously watch the little ones as they're going back to school. So that should be really, really exciting. People just keep talking about space and Virgin Galactic there. What have we missed? Obviously, it's a big move to the high side now because I don't remember this thing being at $25.
I don't think you can buy this here. But
a great couple areas of support down here between $24.80 and $25.20, about 40 cents worth of move to the upside. So there it is. So again, you have 40 cents consolidation, breaking, and now a 40-cent move. So 25.25 or so on this one. We'll have a look at the 10-minute chart. It's right into the teeth here. I mean, I would rather short it if it was up to 26, but you know, nice move up here. And we're off the bottoms. I mean, $24 has been a bottom for a while on a daily chart even as well. So, you know, you're coming into this level. And again, I say this, you know, again, and I said this yesterday, is that it's like one tweet away from going either way, right? I mean, you saw what the FAA came out and grounded them. They could come out and raise them again. They could, you know, raise their forecast on profits, not profits, on revenues. There'll be no profits for this for a while. But anyways, that is space, and let's just watch it. I don't like this short until we get, like what Neil was saying there under his breath a little bit. I think you need to get up to like, you know, 26.50-ish or so before we get really interested there on space.
And I'm not sure I even like buying it unless you get to 24. Like, it's just, you look at the cluster that's in here, like, hold on to it if I'm holding on to what I have for it in the long term, and there's not much of a reason to do anything except wait for it to potentially break 24 and then get some better prices. The fact that it hasn't broken out on this on the latest news from the FAA is possibly a good sign, but just to get some other trades here that we have on. Look, I'm still obviously going to be in that upstart in that GANX. We have adjusted a little bit on those, but Tesla was one that was, I think it was on the watch list, like 99.999% sure it was. Continuing its break, but you know, not as strong a move as yesterday's action. Still looking pretty decent. It was kind of that failed breakout at the open, and this is on the 15-minute. That crazy wick is kind of not doing us any help here. But it did break the pre-market high, reverse off of 765. Then it's going to hold sort of afternoon support almost to a dime around 752. This is going to set us up here. I mean, the market's a little bit weak for us to hopefully for you to get exactly what you'd be looking for, which, you know, maybe is a consolidation off VWAP here and then a breakout in the afternoon at 765. You're going to need some help from the market for that to happen. But that's setting up for now. So as long as we're holding above this like 50, we'll call it 55 in the VWAP area, that'll be on my radar on Tesla. I don't want to force myself into this trade. buying dips or anything like that. It didn't work out for NIO, so I don't want to double down on that necessarily on Tesla, but there is at least setting up for a continuation through 65. I wouldn't want to be touching that trade if it were to, say, travel all the way down to 750 and have a big spike up, and then you're buying off a high like that on a big spike. I'd rather it be off a nice tighter consolidation in this $5 range and then a 765 break. Hey, maybe it happens for Trader Pratt and Miss V. I know they trade some Tesla. Or maybe it happens for us at Power Hour at the close. Either way, you got to have some actionable setups, especially at this time of day when things are slowing down and you're more managing the positions that you have on. Upstart is still kind of holding on here. Still, no reason to get out of this trade. It's showing me that the short idea was going to be right, at least for now. It's bought some lower highs in, holding VWAP pretty nicely, continuously. So now I'm just looking for this triple bottom to get broken and then test that 262. So it's getting pretty binary for me here. It's getting more obvious that I don't want to give this necessarily back into the high of the day. So, the call to move the stop into 272.50 and make sure we lock in profit also holds up as well.
Yep, good, and more good. Okay, so Ford is not good. Ford's come all the way back down to 13 and change right now. So again, not worried about this position because I feel like we do have some 1280 love down here, but the position's starting to get bigger, obviously, as we go. So if we look at a 10-minute chart, just to give you guys some kind of, damn it, we can't because of that wick. But here's this is space still. Let's just switch this over to Ford. What we're looking at here with Ford is basically these bottoms here of 1280, like, I feel like they just announced that they got this guy coming through here. And again, from Tesla, from Apple, every talk is going to be about electric vehicles and electrifying, their fleet and whatnot. They have the highest selling car in the US, period, with the F-150. So, and I know they've recently, what was it, the Mach-E, I believe it's called, the Mustang. So that's going there. I saw the Ford Bronco, although, Randy, I'm surprised. That's pretty small, the Ford Bronco. Like, it's not a very big car. Maybe I saw the sport one, but that seems to be a pretty small car. So, and again, with the switch to more efficient vehicles, I like Ford. I mean, this is just a talk for long term, but here again into what was good announcement, I thought, for Ford there the other day. We'll see if it means anything as far as today's trade. Our average price now 10s now on Ford after we take that 04 bid right now. So if we can get it back to VWAP, we'll take out a little bit, lick our wounds, and then we'll see about taking out this 12 and then to the upside. But it's a much bigger position now than we thought we'd ever get into. It's still not huge, but bigger than we thought into Ford here. Was not expecting this move down. And hey, that does happen. BBIG, look, no matter what happens on this one, we'll dab it up because this has been a great trade for us. We can't lose on this name, so whatever. I mean, this thing can go.
Well, it could go to zero instantly, which was impossible, but.
So it could do something that's impossible, but okay. So there we go. So this could go all the way down. It could make an impossible move, according to Neil, at some point, which it could. I mean, look, they.
You remember the flash crash?
And not only that, but we've seen intraday share offerings, although that really shouldn't be allowed. So stuff like that could happen here on BBIG, which would not surprise me. And we don't have any insight on that. What I'm trying to get at here is that if we do break that 950 area down here, we will get out and still leave. With some profits on the table. So that's all. Palantir does bounce around 26 there. I mean, how many outs did we have? We only have a third of our position left. So 1, 2, 3, 4 outs there up at 26. As VWAPs come down, I still like a 26 break. And I think that Palantir gets back to 26, 25. Just the market right now, as you guys can't really see, but there it is. The market right now is struggling just a tad. So if we can get back upside, then those targets remain the same for Palantir. My offer's at 26.09.
Yeah, I just want to quickly show ATER here because I know you guys are looking at this. This already had a couple of squeezes. I actually shorted this stock my last day before taking the week off, and it was an embarrassing, quick little short. I probably should have held on to it, but it already broke through what was a multi-day high here at 8 even. So as it does that, look, if I'm not involved in a breakout like that to the long side, like we kind of looked at with any here, A and Y, is you got to start checking up into some of these levels. And I look at this support, which is down at about 880, where it's already turned at 65, and that's a big range into 950. So, when you get like a range like this at the top, you're either short shy of it, like maybe in this little wick here, which would be right here, right now already, or you sit it out. So I'm sitting it out. We'd have to break the high, test the top end here at about 960 to 980, and then I would jump into it. If you're long, start thinking about the fact that this break here at 8 even, if it can't get through 880 here, guys, it could be one of those more of a scalp break instead of like a multi-day type runner, because this has already come back in after going 4 and over a double up. You know, if it doesn't hold above $8, this could crash back down to 6 pretty fast. It is heavily shorted though, Brendo.
A couple things. General Mills, guys, just popping back up again, trying to go once more. Just saw this Eraska, what is it? ERAS. I just realized there's no volume in this, but there was a deal announced with Pfizer in the pre-market. So this ERAS teaming up with Pfizer on some colorectal cancer work. So this was actually up nicely pre-market, but it's just fallen apart. But again, liquidity and volume, a huge issue on that end. Let's get a check on how Europe is shaping up. Miss V from her new spot. What's up in Europe, V?
Hey, Brandon, European markets are negative today. Meanwhile, industrial technology company Smiths Group trading in London is up more than 3% after it agreed to sell its medical unit to US-based ICU Medical for $2.4 billion. Back to you.
Yeah, interesting moves all over the place, guys. Mostly individual names today. Again, the market kind of muted.
We'll do this one. I haven't floated on water a little bit, but I just got out of GANX. I'm never trying to ignore these stocks when we're sort of in them and hanging out for too long. But when it broke that 9 even, it did make that strong hold. So I did adjust my stop into 975 from 1015. It then managed to fail at 950, rolled back over through 9 even. You know, between that 9 break and the 790 close, I said somewhere around that 850 is where I try to get out. It then had a consolidation break downside that immediately checked up at 850. So I'm just going to get out in the 60s here. We said it had a chance on that break to eventually give over $1. It does do that, so we'll be pretty happy with that trade. We're now $9 in the money on Upstart. And look, it's getting to that point. Like, this is obviously like a triple bottom it's testing here. As long as it continues to make lower highs, I like it. But bouncing off the low again, I feel like I might need to tighten up that stop. If we cannot break through the low again on Upstart, I don't want to give it all back. You know, certainly this has been a very, very strong stock. That's one of the reasons why I liked it for the short side trade today, because it's gone parabolic a few times. And it couldn't, look, the last time it did this when it broke the high, like it couldn't actually sustain what you thought could be checking up. But this is now a secondary push. And you've got to feel like when it's a double up from that breakout, and then even people in like the 200 long, or look at this swing long. Like if you were long in this like, 225, 230-ish break, right? Like what are you asking yourself if you're taking profit? That's a $50 move clean at 280 where it just reversed. Do you want to be holding back to like 260, 250? No. The swing longs are thinking about where they're going to be getting out on that move. And certainly, I mean, if they haven't already, people that were long on the 200 break are like, oh my goodness, let's trim some off and start playing with house money. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that side of the trade. And of course, there's going to be other there's going to be day traders that are, stronger traders probably shorting this move here and then shorting its, turning that move that you take part in after it happens. But I want to give it some room to break this low of the day. I feel like it could be a day or two to the downside, at least for Upstart, if not even more than that, given how strong the stock has been. And now it finally feels like it's found a bit of a top.
Yeah, I mean, great trade on Upstart on that short as the market continues, man, to crack down to the low side there. So you can see the market now cracking lower, 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 lower there as Clover does take that break spot at 950, but we're still going to hold on to some Clover here and see if we can't get back to the upside. So I'm going to hold on to that one. We did have a kill spot. I'm going to use $9 where we sort of the jump started yesterday, and then we're going to take one last shot at Clover. It's hard to see, but there it is yesterday. $9 to the upside. We can obviously look at a 10-minute chart here as well, as Clover's just been straight to the downside. This is that 9. So, I mean, if we want to retrace all the way back down, so be it. I can't believe that's about to happen, but it does look like Clover's giving everything back that it made yesterday. We started the run yesterday at 9, and then bang, right up to the upside 11. And then now today, everybody just cashing out, people holding the bag here. So like I'm doing right now on Clover, we'll wait. I'm fine doing this. I mean, especially on a meme name, this is kind of the play for me. I mean, I want to be able to hold these names and see if it does get that run back. So we'll take another bid, and then unfortunately, if it does break down through 9, it'll just be a horrible trade on Clover. But we're going to give that one more chance to see if it goes to the upside there in Clover. We're still not. We don't have a lot of shares in it. We have, like, just for example, I have 3.5 times the shares in Ford. So if that does break down to the downside, that's going to be even worse, as Ford looking at 13 right now. Not too much time left on here for us to trade here today, but I still believe in that 1280 spot. So if Ford goes down there, then that's when we're going to have to make a decision.
So there was a question in what my plan is for A and Y. I did make I made one trade off of yesterday's high, of course, at 681 off of the 685 level. I was successful short. The last last out, I did get flat at just above break even there. Now, the reason why this will look pretty good for a 7 break for a lot of people, and I guess I can't really fault if you're looking at a 7 break, but when I look at the parabolic move it had in, and these tops are more like 740, 750, 740, 740, 750. Like unless you're saying, okay, like long 7, so you get like 705 maybe, and you're crushing it out there like 20s, 30s, and 40s into that level, that's probably the play. I kind of feel like I might still be looking to short it again at 750 if it were to get there, which makes it a tricky play to want to do that 7 even breakout. But it looks a heck of a lot. And again, if you only did this, which is kind of look at the last couple of days, you just sort of see that double top in there and say to yourself, okay, well, 1, 2, 3 times it tested it today. It's consolidating, forming a bit of a wedge to the upside, and it's got yesterday's high. Just take a 7 long break, go for it, shoot for it. It's going to be fantastic. You go that higher time frame, and it looks pretty unclean up in that range, and that's why I don't necessarily love it. And I might think of a first short like snapback short, upstart. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this
my bid is down here. Look, it's at that 262. It's starting to come in. This is definitely one of those like, oh, I shouldn't have flushed it down the toilet.
Well, you're flushing the stock down.
Yeah, but when you look at a daily chart like this, it's kind of hard to flush it down the toilet. But either way, it is getting right down into that range from yesterday. Just to put things into perspective, this is not even yesterday's move it's pulling back in, right? Like this is like the afternoon that it's retracing, like afternoon bottoms here, and that was only about like $10. So you get this moved in. We're about $11 in the money here. I was shooting between 62 and 64. We're just trying to break that 64 level as we speak. There hasn't been a ton of buying, like the selling's been in control the entire way. And then of course there goes any, which I just said I didn't like the long. And I still had my, so anyways, I'm gonna show you, I gotta show you this guy, because this is ridiculous. This is where we have a little bit of discipline, but at the end of the day, if I just held this mistake, it would have worked out. I still had a 7 stop from when I adjusted my stop order on this stupid thing. So I went long at 701 when I didn't want it, immediately cover it for the spread because I didn't want to go, I just told you guys I didn't want to go long. And then of course I could actually take in a scalp trade in it. But I didn't want the trade because I thought there was cover at 750 and it might be a fade at that price. So I immediately just get out of it. We'll see what happens with ANY. It does look pretty clean if you just simply look at the 1 or the 3 minute chart for today and yesterday. But I didn't like it when I looked at the 15 minute. If it doesn't set up on multiple time frames, then I'm not a huge fan of breakout trades. And as you see right here, it's kind of being tricky at this level, trying to shake some people out anyways.
Okay, so we just, yeah, I mean, this is what the market does, right? It's trying to shake everybody out of their great positions, and I just wish that my position doesn't get shaken out now, as that's all that's been happening. We just did kick a bid on Clover there, 28, I believe it was, yeah, 28, 26 there. Yep, it was 28, so we got filled on the NASDAQ gateway there at 28, so let's wait to see now where we go from here, but hopefully to the upside now goes Clover as we're right at that $9 spot. Again, now we have some more shares on Clover, but still not a huge position. The reason why is we are expecting, I mean, I wouldn't be holding something 60 cents against me. Right now it's 30 cents against me. Like 30 cents is, I mean, it's not that much, but again, we'd like to have this win. So this is 30 cents against us. So that's what I mean. We only have to get it back to 960 right here, and then we'll have the winner on Clover, but that's going to take a while. So right now we're going to have to hold on to Clover and see what does happen at that $9 spot. Really nothing we can do right now. We did take another bid on Ford. We're right into the pre-market bottoms now. So Ford, we took a little bit out there at 17, but nothing. That was just to cover this average. And now we're in trouble again as Ford looking at that 1280. This is where I want to be wrong, yesterday's bottom. So if we're going to be wrong at 1280, then that's where we're going to be wrong. We'll put in a bigger spot, probably like around here, 1287 for one last-ditch effort. We'll double up our shares. And then if it breaks back down through 1280, then we're gone on Ford. And that's just going to be a bad call there as we've been holding it all morning. So hopefully it makes its move back upside. And again, we're only out a dime here. So even if you have 1,000 shares, it's $100, right? So this is not the end of the world on Ford. Let's just hope that the market can rally. And again, look at the ES. I mean, it's fallen down, right? People are selling some of the stocks, obviously, into strength. If they've had some strength, they're selling them. So I think that Ford is probably beat down for no real good reason, but the market is falling, hence Apple. We talked about this earlier, man. I said earlier that this may be a top temporarily, as you've just made Apple highs yesterday into really no news. So let's go over and look at that board. It's pretty red, but I do see some blue. Let's figure out where those are with Brendan.
Hey guys, yeah, a bit of a mixed story once again this morning. Let's have a look at the S&P 500 here, see how things are shaping up overall. About 0.5%, so we are in the red significantly at this point. Consumer staples, utilities, far corner there. The entire sector is helping to offset the otherwise negative day. But even in here, consumer staples group, Philip Morris, I saw, updated their current quarter for this current forecast, 2.9% to the downside there for PM. Everything else, though, in those two groups in positive territory. Not so much down here for the materials sector. Pretty red all across the board. FCX, Mosaic, CF, 2+% to the downside. Just notice Twitter over here, 2% to the downside as well for Twitter in the communications group. So those also pretty much negative right across the board. RE in the banking sector, insurance specifically, 2.4%. Everything else in this group, I mean, it's negative, but again, kind of 2% to 2.5%. Nothing significant. Industrials are red. Healthcare stocks are red. PRGO here, 5.9%. Right underneath that, Moderna, 3.25% again today to the downside. Let's go over to the tech stocks real quick. STX, WDC, HPQ in the equipment makers, all about 2+% to the downside. GPN, CTXS helping to offset that. There are a few other ones down here that are positive on the day. This is the consumer discretionary sector that's actually leading as far as weakness is concerned. BWA, PTV, and the automotive and automotive components makers. Some of the travel names are weak once again today. Starbucks standing out here positive. Yum Brands as well. That's Gap, if anyone's wondering. GPS, 3.25%. PHM, PVH, MHK rather, in the consumer durables sector, also in the red. Still about 0.5%. So it is kind of a mixed board overall. Back over to you guys.
Okay, yes, thank you, Brendan. And you can see right here as we look at ETH starting to come back down. This is a 1 minute chart. So we just broke through some of these levels of 33. I don't know why 3380 is significant, but there's a level there and it just breaks down through that. So and this is not Bitcoin, of course, this is ETH. So it looks like it wants to continue to fall downside here. And yesterday, I mean, you could look at 3320 here as some bottoms from earlier this morning. As we zoom out, though, you know, this is just going to be one of those names that you're going to have to be very, very patient with. What happened there? Okay, there it is. So again, 3,200. This is still a 5 minute chart. As you see, we did have that crack yesterday. This 32 is key. That's why we keep bringing that, or I'm bringing it up right now. It looked like it wanted to start to crash earlier this morning, and then all of a sudden you get a nice little retracement back up of about 250. So let's see where it goes from here. But looks like it's all clear to the downside right now if you break through that 3,200. So please be very, very careful if you are trading BTC or Ethereum. Looks like we could crack it. And remember yesterday, Coinbase and whatnot did have some issues with some of their reporting and their trades. So if you are nervous about that, just keep an eye on it and make sure that you get out.
Yeah, they were canceling a bunch of trades.
That's it.
They didn't get executed for sure. There, I'm all out of Upstart, guys. It got that. We definitely got an assist like Adam Oates style from the market there. I could have said Wayne Gretzky, but Adam Oates is a fun one to do. If you follow hockey, you should know what I'm talking about. But the market helped out. We get the push in. I do get that 262. So it's going to be clean. The last out's about a $12.50 winner there. We were shorting this off of a very particular setup. So I've gone over it a bunch of times. Don't have to again. But thank you for the super chat. I love references. So John, shout out to my Stratton Oakmount fam. If anybody doesn't get that one, then I don't know what to tell you. Because there are some things that are must-watches for traders, and the movie that's a reference from is one that you should watch, and you should probably also read the book. I always say read the book because it's a better way to consume things, but that's just me. I'm a bit of an old-fashioned guy. BBIG, I suppose, like as Sean already mentioned, like the money coming out of some of these squeeze names and the market dipping down a little bit, but let's keep in mind that while we're seeing all that weakness, we're still not breaking that 10 level, right? We can slide back over to the 15-minute, just so you can see why we like this $10 level. I mean, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. We had that top resistance in yesterday's action, right? Even like resistance, if you go right back into like the beginning of the beginning of last week, and then failed breaks through 10. So it kind of turned into like a resistance level even after the failed breakthrough, and it's now holding up as support. That's a lot of strength. For it to reject a move like this, which was trying to get through this previous high, and then to hold up and check up at 10, that's why I'm not shorting the stock today. Like it's just, I wouldn't want to get caught offside with a short here, and then if it breaks 12, you could be halting on a break of 12. As long as this thing is above 10, I want to be net long in it. and try to have some exposure to this breaking 12 even if it happens to be during, like memes and movers, which by the way, you're only about like 14 minutes away from
that's
90
right.
minutes of Trader Pratt and Miss V. Memes and movers today. Could happen then. I know they better be watching that. I know they are going to be watching BBIG. I know Valeria was trading some Tesla, so got to be watching those. And of course, we'll be back for Power Hour, where there's going to be some moves, because the market, I don't want to say it, man, but like now 0.75% to the downside on the NASDAQ, and it's looking relatively weak. Like you look at something like a Netflix here, which is now retesting some of those lows. Its breakout price from yesterday was like right around that 600 level. So, if 600 can't hold up on Netflix, you have to ask yourself like where that stock is going to go next. Probably it was a good look to buy it on the dip at the open at 600. Might get a second chance here on Netflix. And as I was looking at my losing stock today, which obviously no good on NEO, and then no good on PayPal, I started thinking about that Affirm earnings, because the reception to PayPal here today, and where Affirm is sort of come from, and I go to the daily chart, and where Affirm is coming from going into this print. This is a tricky one, because it kind of makes some sense to have some. I kind of wish I'd already sold some at like 95. But look, if this is probably at least risking on a downside print Affirm. There's no way you aren't risking back into the 75 to 80 range. Like somewhere into here, things don't go their way, especially the way the market's reacting in today. I think it'll probably be a buy if it ever cracks 75 or somewhere down in that low side, but sort of taking profit has at least got my interest in before those earnings. I hate trading before earnings. I think it's kind of usually a mistake, but either way, Affirm should be on radar, should be on watch. It's trying to hold the top end of this cluster, and were it to break, this is obviously a key level. You can see 90 on Affirm. Were it to break, you're talking like minimum you're into this 80 level on the way down. It's just not a heck of a lot. It's pure air between this price and there.
Yeah, and Affirm off that big deal, of course, with Amazon. Look at BBIG. I know Neil just talked about it, but there it goes, bouncing right off that level, 1030, right up to, again, so another 50 cents there for us on BBIG. But again, Clover, it's hanging out down here, so hopefully that'll go. And then Ford, we did pick up some 96s or 95s there. I believe it was 96. So now you're back to 98. We know our average price is 07. So, hey, man, we're out of money 9 cents, and I'm worried about it. But this is just a play that we've averaged in on. So we do have a decent amount of shares back down here. We'll watch out for that. I'm super, super excited about Memes and Movers, which is coming up very, very soon. So join us in 10 minutes. You'll be able to see Valeria, Miss V, and Trader Pratt coming through. Okay, NEO today was, so by the way, Palantir, so we'll flush it down the toilet, but I mean, again, because we're able to get out of some, the damage on Palantir really is minimal, to say the least, or to say the most, I guess. Unfortunately, up. We got out there at 26. We got out 4 times right there, and we did hold. I told you we're holding a third left, so got out of 2/3 there, like buy out. The same thing, rinse and repeat that stock. So, and then when we get out there, it's not that big of a hit. We got out at 64 level break. So in at 75, out at 64. So that's a dime there. And as you guys know, on the upside, that was more profits than that. So it's still going to be red on the stock, but definitely living to see another day here on PLTR. As the market, I mean, look what's starting to happen now. This is the NASDAQ. Look at Palantir. It's basically the same. Down. You get a little bit of reprieve there, a little bit of reprieve there, and now you're starting to go back upside. So if the NASDAQ takes out this 15,580, which I guess it's going to at some point, then maybe there is going to be something here for us on Palantir. 25.52 or so. We could see about that for a run to the upside, but I'm going to hold out because Ford, if the market doesn't want to go up, then Ford's going to be a problem. So we'll wait on Palantir. If we get anything around this 25.25 again, that's where we should go long. If you're looking for, I guess, some stocks that are looking pretty strong, I'll bring your attention to GSAT. And again, right to the higher time frame, which I'm spending more time on here. It just broke 235 here, which would have been a few days ago, this little high. But once again, you find this level, 235 right into like 240 or so. That was some chop when it tried to break before, and that was already a lower high for parabolic move. That's why I don't like these breakouts. Like, if you go to the 1 minute chart, like that does look pretty solid for a break. And it's like, yeah, if you want to take 5 or 6 cents into that one, it makes a lot of sense there. Take some profit. It's a $2 stock. But I always look for like, okay, but what if it fails at that move on the higher time frame and you've essentially bought at the high? Like, you better have an out when you're taking that 35 long. So as it makes that move into the upside on GSAT, it was the 15 minute that I'm looking at here. Just wanted to see what happens as it tries to check up into this range. And of course, it's already made a run. Like, this 265
You'd love to see it hang out and maybe break that level where I think there's some room to run on GSAT. It's getting to that time of day. It's only about 9 minutes to go. BBIG is all I'm hanging on to right now, but I did want to check back in with any, if only because, I think it was a bit of a slip up. Well, obviously I did stick to my rules. Like if you accidentally get into a trade, you should never try to hold on to it. But the reason I didn't like the breakout was kind of true. It ends up going to that 720 mark and reversing, kind of what I'd be fearful for that happens in GSAT, where it doesn't have the follow through. However, I mean, if you're into drawing trend lines, that uptrend is pretty clean and yet to be broken. So it's still sort of gravitating towards that 750 level on ANY. I do believe is less than 10 minutes to go. And there's one thing we haven't done yet is take a look at, I guess we should call it now, it's crypto and the currencies, because everyone's concerned about crypto when it comes to money talks. Let's go to Brennan.
Hey guys, yeah, another day of strength for the US dollar. We'll have a look at the currencies here. Up 0.4, better part of 0.4. It was higher than that initially. This is a daily chart of the US dollar index, the DXY. You can see yesterday and then today we're bouncing off this recent support area around 92, as we've been talking about going back a couple of months. So a lot of these going to be in the red, including the euro down 0.3. Canadian dollar all the way back to 78.5. Down 3/4 of a cent at one point today. British pound 0.3 to the downside. Japanese yen, Swiss franc, a little bit of strength. Australia, New Zealand lower. Turkish lira bouncing back up. Tends to kind of do the opposite of what everything else does. The Turkish lira, I've noticed, 1.4%. Cryptos, yeah, bottom end of the board here, all in negative territory once again today. Obviously nowhere near what we saw yesterday, but this time we kick things off. But 45,700 here for Bitcoin, 3,300 in change for Ethereum. Guys, back over to you.
Yes, Ethereum trying to hold right now. You can watch out for ETHE. It's trying to hold 10 cent. We were just talking about 10 cent a little bit here, as it looks like they're going to comply with rules. I don't know. Oh yeah, great. Chart's frozen again there, as we can't go over to 10 cent. Let's go. There it goes. Okay, so it looks like they're going to, comply. Doesn't look like there's anything happening. That was about 10 or 15 minutes ago. I just wanted to talk about that, as I believe 10 cent needs to be bought at some of these levels we talked about. Oh, that's why it's this chart that's not working. My daily chart's not working. But FXI is a good one there on the Chinese, the large cap Chinese names. I do like that one, as I'm gonna have to fix this chart.
Yeah, and these markets are continuing to head to the downside. I'll quickly just show you on the futures here. On the NASDAQ, I put up a 60-minute chart just in case you're wondering. I don't usually show a 60-minute, but for the NQ and the ES, that's what it usually is going to be. I wasn't here, obviously, but you have the 31st. You have what probably is a bit of a key level coming in at this 15.5. So if you're looking for something that can turn something that you're dip buying in, have a quick shoot over looking at the NASDAQ to see if it has any kind of a bounce here. I was just looking at Alibaba. In particular, that one's still heading down for the time being, down like 5% now, and we're into this like, I guess, I can't even call it double bottom. It's broken that 170, and it's held up at 169.5 here. A lot of the Chinese names coming back in. I got out of Upstart, but it is worth coming back to notice that it is at those lows. The market's absolutely crapping on itself. So obviously, I mean, if I was sitting here thinking that we're going to be down close to 1%, I'm probably holding on more aggressively to that short, but that wasn't in the plans. I didn't necessarily think we were going to go down 1% today. Otherwise, obviously, you could have had that different look. Upstart breaking 260. I mean, I guess there's now room to like 255 here before it catches a bit of a bid. And there's a part of me that would say, I mean, if you're looking at a chance to catch this between 250 and 255 later on this afternoon, I might be long this stock. And even though I think it's made a bit of a top and could be a multi-day short, that doesn't mean as a day trader there aren't going to be some long opportunities, which quite frankly I didn't think it would come into play and are getting very close to cracking. If the market continues down and 260 goes, I mean, Upstart between maybe like 51, 52, 53, that could be an interesting buy. I don't know if I want to short it this low. That feels a little bit reckless to me. I kind of want to stick to, maybe shorting stronger pops than that.
Okay, yeah, people want us to look at Microsoft and Facebook. What's up, Sam? There on the chat, but really, Clover, it's very surprising there. Went up to 940, which would have put us only out 25 pennies, but we're going to wait on Clover still to go. Why do we want to look at these? I mean, I know these are all getting cracked. Everything's at all-time highs. I mean, what down 1% on Microsoft? Okay. I mean, Facebook, I've loved Facebook. It's at all-time highs even right now. What was it, 381 or something like that is all-time high here on Facebook. So I don't want to sorry, I guess 384. I don't want to like sound the alarms here that some of these stocks are fading out, but we did talk about this, that the market was at all-time highs, and then you had that Apple come yesterday. So, you know, I still think that there's a lot of negativity here in the marketplace just because we're at all-time highs, and I think it's just profit taking. But again, you know, September, we did a video, the September effect. You know, there is something to that where the markets give back in September. So what's up, Brendan?
Okay, a couple minutes, guys. We have not a lot of earnings to talk about this evening, but as we mentioned, one big and, as you'll see, front and center one to discuss tonight and tomorrow morning.
Which one is that? Sentinel-1. Yeah, I mean, everyone's got to be concerned about what happens with Sentinel-1. Interesting company there. Obviously, we're talking about GameStop. Yeah, I mean, look, we sort of teed this one up. It hasn't necessarily been the biggest mover. I know AMC put in a bit of a move here. It tried to get upside, but remember when we said in GameStop below that 200 level, just because like that squeeze that happened on all of those names, that was like a 160 into that 200 level, and it was just gangbusters. So that entire gap is what you're looking at for the potential downside in GameStop before you're confidently, I would say, buying dips, as a lot of people will be looking to do. It's already starting to crack that in here today. It would be a little bit more exciting of a trade if it had held up closer to like 96, 97, 98. I think going into those earnings. Instead, with the market, it's getting sold off anyways. I just think it has a ways to go before you're looking for any bid support on GameStop. But you got to be watching it, meme or not, squeeze or not, whatever you want to call it, with earnings and with the move that it's had today. It's got to be on your radar for the day trade tomorrow.
I mean, AMC was a very, very beautiful trade, but unfortunately, we weren't in it. It goes right to that level again, man. 48. This one actually ripped to 49. Like now, come on. Anyways, needless to say here, tops at 49 now, and AMC making a move back to the downside. So you are getting some bounces here on AMC, but again, remember, when the NASDAQ starts to fade down like this, people are going to sell, you know, stocks that they're not convinced on, right? So that's why you're going to get like an upstart that had a big move right to the downside. Nice trade on that one for sure. And then AMC, the same kind of thing here. As the market falls, you know, some of these names are going to continue with some of the weakness. Was that a call for Ms. V? Ms. V.
Thank you, Sean. And hey, guys, thank you very much for spending this morning with us. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for all the super chats, all the likes, and please make sure you like this video before you leave. We will see you at Memes and Movers right after this show, and also at 3:00 p.m. Eastern Time to trade the close together. And happy National Ampersand Day, everyone. So exciting.
Yeah, it's the and sign.
Oh, that's okay. That's interesting because, I mean, I don't know. Usually it's something it's like eating or something obvious, but I've never seen that one before. Pretty interesting.
Yeah,
we love it. That's why it's always fun with Ms. V coming up with those for us or finding the most interesting one. Like she said,
sign.
You're not going anywhere.
Ooh,
right? In about 25 seconds, we're going straight over to Trader Pratt and Ms. V. It's Memes and Movers back for 90 minutes. So much work got put into it. The entire team is actually here right now. If you can put a shot on, the entire team is here. And so much work got put into getting it right. And now we've got it right. So we're very, very happy to do it. We'll be, of course, right back at 3 o'clock for Power Hour. The market is still moving, trying to put in a bit of a low here right now. But you can't believe it. But I do believe it. Trader Pratt and Ms. V are locked and loaded, ready to go. We're going to send you right over to Memes and Movers.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm your host, Trader Pratt. This is...
Hi guys, finally we're back. We're super excited, and please be active on the chat. Ask us anything, write what you trade, and of course don't forget to like this video.